Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the Tilson 200 here at Darlington, the virtual Darlington Raceway for the Elite Racing League Old Testament Firearms Truck Series. Looking forward to another great night tonight. It's going to be 147 laps around the 1.36 mile raceway and a whole lot of action for round two of the season. As always, on behalf of the Elite Racing Network, I'm James East, running the production booth today, and I'm accompanied by the world-famous Gerald Campbell joining us tonight. Gerald, how excited are you for round two here today, my friend?
Pretty excited. You know, they say this is the Lady in Black, and we're going to find out tonight. Obviously, she's earned her name. She's an egg-shaped track with a lot of mean history behind her. And not only do we get to watch some crazy racing with that, but we're going to see a lot of pretty cars out there as this is the start of the week for the throwback paint schemes with the Elite Series. So that's what we got forward to look for tonight is some tough racing and beautiful cars to do it on.
Now, Jared, you talk about the throwback cars and trucks we're going to see out on track here today. What type of paint schemes are you expecting to see from some of these drivers here at Darlington? And the follow-up is, how long are they going to stay clean out there?
Well, you got two options with us. It's either we're going to be talking about your paint scheme when you're on the wrecker, or you're going to be talking about your paint scheme while you're up front. We're going to try to trickle it through the field. There's obviously I went through some of them, and there's some pretty ones. One of the fun ones are the Goodman Do Good Motorsports has a lot of pretty cars out there. They themed theirs to Days of Thunder, so their whole team has different Days of Thunder paint schemes on them. We'll obviously mention some of these paint schemes along through the race, but like I said, if you're lucky, it's maybe while it's still going forward. If not, we'll try to give you a brief little tilt of the hat and the unfortunate sign of a car going to the garage with mentioning of your paint scheme then. So we'll see how it goes tonight with some of these guys. If we get enough long green flag laps, we'll be able to show a couple of them here.
Yeah, that's what we always say in the broadcast booth. If you're not going to make it interesting. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here at Darlington. Right now it is single truck qualifying underway as we watch, a big hit. I believe that's Chad Frankenfield, the number 15, that's going to end his qualifying a little bit early and maybe try and make another go at it. But remind me, Gerald, is it 43 drivers making the main event today? Is that what we're going to expect to see out on track?
Yeah, 43. That's what we got here. They're going to have like a short little heat race, but that's just to eliminate some of the drivers. So with this series, it's going to be qualifying. The heat race is just to get rid of some of the drivers that didn't make the field and show tonight. Tonight we have a full field. I'm not quite sure if it's 43 or 44 drivers that showed up tonight. So obviously a big turnout for this very tough race here. So we'll see if there's going to be any of them going home tonight. But all we know is that there's going to be a lot of trucks on track all at one time here. So right now, qualifying is going on. After this, we'll hopefully set the field for the starting race here.
Yeah, it looks like at Daytona, our season opener, we had 42 drivers make it out on track. Ultimately, it was Tom Bourne, Bronson Stafford, and Chad Thornquist bringing home the podium spots. But over that 101 laps at Daytona, we had 16 different leaders, 37 different lead changes throughout the night, and 5 cautions for 16 laps. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here today. We went from a plate track at Daytona to quite the exciting track here at Darlington. It's going to be interesting to see how things really shake up and what we're going to see from all of our competitors, as we've had 36 drivers put down qualifying time so far. We've got about 5 or 6 still waiting to do so, as we're about to watch Trey Holmes, the number 88 machine, go out in his Chevy and see what he can put down. But, man, I'm not sure what we're going to see here tonight. It's going to be a long format race. We've got some stages that are going to break up the action. And as it stands, a whole lot of racers trying to put the power down and secure top spots. It's a very short season this go-around, not that many races. So if anybody's going to make any moves, they've got to do it early on. So I think that's going to lead to a little bit more exciting racing instead of the longer format 100% like full-length races. As we watch Trey Holmes almost have a moment already, and he decides to pack it up, and we're going to take it to the heat race here today, Gerald.
Correct. Again, this heat race is just a formality. There's not going to be any racing on this. This is just simply to exclude some drivers that maybe didn't make it in on time. But right now, like you stated, I don't know if you were here last time or if you got to see any of it, James, but last week at Daytona, it was only 5 cautions, but those 5 cautions were big. that took out a lot of good drivers. So a lot of good drivers right now are pretty far back in the points. Most of the seasons, you see in iRacing or in NASCAR events, they're long, long events. There's 20 odd races on up into the chase starting. For here in Elite in the Truck Series, there's only 8 races. So a lot of those guys that got caught up in those wrecks that didn't get a lot of points are now looking at this race as a must come and must run. They have to run well to hopefully get up there in points. As it races isn't a lot to try to work your way up to the field if you've got yourself a deep hole already. So that's what you're going to have to watch. You're going to see a lot of tiptoeing of drivers that maybe need to just keep a good optimistic approach to it, or you might see some of those guys going up there and trying to win it and lock themselves in that way. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how some of these guys go about doing this tricky track.
Yeah, Gerald, 8 races in a season. That's shorter than most chase championships are, so it's going to be fun to see how that really ties in tonight's racing. And as we get ready to start, I'd like to once again thank Old Testament Firearms for coming on board as our title sponsor for the Truck Series. They pledge to honor God in the provision of quality firearms accessories, and they do their best to provide the best value possible for customer service that constantly goes beyond customer expectations. So again, thank you to Old Testament for providing the title sponsorship for this series. I know somebody that's worked in firearms for the last few years, how exciting it can be once we all got into the COVID season together and how wild things got with firearms. So very cool of them to make this happen, as these cars are going to kind of do a bit of a victory lap out on track to secure the final lock-in position. Now, Gerald, going into tonight, do you have any odds-on favorites that you're kind of betting on here at Dover to bring it home for the win?
There are. Obviously I race with Elite and a lot of other series. So there's a few drivers out here that I've seen that seem to know this track very well. Of course, you got Josh Robin qualifying on pole again. He qualified on pole at Daytona, and he's I believe done it once again here. But you got such drivers as Tate Lytle, very good. Shane Terrian, many of those guys that finished in the top 5 last week with Flat Out Racing Network. Shane Terrian's a very good driver, one of those that I look to see as one of the front runners. But one that's in the heat race here is Josh Adams. That's another very good driver. Surprised he didn't go out for a qualifying run. So he's looking at maybe just the approach of there's going to be a few cautions for him to get up there. Maybe he's just trying to save his stuff. It is a long race, as you stated, so there's a tale of two heads on there. It's either the one staying up front, the ones that are just trying to wait into the back to see what happens. So, yeah, you're going to have a mixture of drivers that are top runners in the front and towards the back as well.
And yeah, we're not very far into the chase here. This is our second race in. I think it's interesting. Chad Thornquist currently on top of the leaderboard as far as points go, but right behind him, not a whole lot of points separating anybody. Tom Byrne and William Harrington both have 44 points each. Trey Holmes, 4th in points, has 43. So, I mean, still very early on in the season. It's going to be interesting to see how things get shaken up here for the Old Testament Firearms Series leading into tonight. And Darlington, always one of those racetracks that either goes very well for a driver or very, very poorly. And with about 43 trucks that are going to be making their way out on track for the main event, you've got to wonder if the guys that qualified are feeling a little bit better going into tonight, not having to worry about maybe the mid-pack carnage that may unfold as the run progresses. And for the guys that didn't qualify, are they going to try and stay at the very back of the field and maybe avoid any carnage, or kind of what is the overall plan going here tonight? I think it's going to be interesting to see how it shakes up.
Truly. Yeah, like I said, there's going to be a tale of two on this. This track is extremely difficult to make passes on, and unfortunately that leads to a lot of unfortunate mistakes where it ends up piling up into the wall. One checkup can cause a big stack up towards the back of the pack. So, like I said, it's going to be who can keep their trucks in one piece. There's going to be a lot of them that at the end of the night are going to look like wheelie modifieds with no fenders on them, just from the mere fact of knocking them completely off during this race. Now that wall is out to get you, but some of those guys know how to run it right up next to it to get that extra little speed. So, again, it's just going to be determining on who knows how to save the truck until the end of the night when it's needed.
Now, Gerald, you talked about the Tour Modifieds. I know they race those here as well for the Elite Racing League. Is that something you find yourself running when time allows, or what cars are you normally out here in when you do have the opportunity to race?
Well, unfortunately, Well, fortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately. My wife would kill me. Fortunately, I have a child, but unfortunately enough, that means that I don't get to race a lot anymore. So I do mostly cup cars now with the next gen. But these trucks are always special, as it just tends to have a lot of turnouts for these because they just run so well. But we're gonna go ahead and do the lineup here if you like.
Starting up front, Josh Robb, the number 8 machine on pole. Scott Crump, the number 90 machine, starting second here tonight. Tate Lytle will be starting third on grid, the number 56 machine. Shane Therian in the number 38, starting fourth. Tom Bourne in the number 31 machine, starting fifth on track. Corey Abbott in the number 7, starting sixth. You've got Jared Rexing starting 7th here tonight in the number 10. Chad Thornquist in the number 92, starting 8th on track. Dustin Dewar in the 32, starting 9th. Wyatt Nadel in the number 84, starting 10th on track. Sean Ryan, the number 9 machine, starting 11th. Jacob Adams in the number 25 is starting 12th on the grid here today. Then we cycle it back to Daniel Martinez, the number 83, starting 13th. You've got Thomas Sherman in the number 1, starting 14th. Bronson Stafford starting 15th on the grid. Brandon Key starting 16th. We've got Ryan Barbieri in the number 46, starting 17th. Hunter Firestone in the 05 machine, starting 18th. Chad Frankenfield, number 15, starting 19th. Michael Hosick, starting 20th. Tyler Dixon, starting 21st. We've got William Harrington, starting 22nd. Scott Haney, starting 23rd. Michael Goodman, starting 24th here today. Kendall Noah Player, starting 25th. Ryan Schultz, starting 26th. We've got Nicholas Darter, starting 27th. James Saul, starting 28th. Justin Fortner in the number 29 spot. Kyle Walgreen starting 30th. Ethan Burrell starting 31st. Alexander Gray starting 32nd. Hunter Smith starting 33rd. Sam Boutwell starting 34th. Tyler Baker 35th on the grid. Zishan Dura starting 36th. Then we cycle back for the final time. Josh Adams 37th. Trey Holmes starting 38th. Brent Jones starting 39th. Alec Balvin starting 40th. Josh Hodges 41st. Brody Moore 42nd. And Mark Rebellis starting 43rd. And right in time, we're about to get this party started, as it is going to be Josh Robin and Scott Crump on the front row here at Darlington. And I believe they may have extended the caution there.
Yeah, they weren't all lined up just yet. Again, big field. So they're going to definitely try to make sure they all stack up. But that gives us a little time to go about explaining some of the other things that are going to go on tonight. There is going to be 2 stages. They are going to be marked with cautions, and they are going to be on lap 45 and lap 90. And it will finish off, obviously, to the end of the race, which is at lap 147. So between that lap 90 and 147, that might be long enough if there's no cautions where it will end up being green flag. But it looks like the stages are going to be long enough to where we won't need any live pit stops, at least non-planned ones, if that. So we are going to obviously have some pretty high tire wear, as it is Darlington, but we're definitely going to have some hard racing to those stage ends.
Now, I did get a correction from some of our fans at home. The number 38 machine, Shane, it's Terrian. So thank you guys out there that are tuning in, supporting us. We greatly appreciate you, and always appreciate you letting me know if I'm butchering somebody's name up here in the broadcast booth. And speaking of fans at home, thank you so much to everybody across the world that tunes in and supports your favorite drivers at your favorite league and even your favorite broadcasters as we get ready to go green. And I am excited here tonight, Gerald, as they are going to be flying. It is number 8, Josh Robin out front, accompanied by Scott Crump, Tate Lytle, and Shane Terry in the number 38 machine. How long are we going to be able to go here at Darlington before carnage ensues?
Well, it just depends on if anyone's stubborn enough not to get it, go single file. So that's what you're looking here, is that this track just opens up to a single file line. So that's just how it has to be, because it is pretty much a one groove racetrack. But as you said, it looks like to be a very clean start so far.
Yeah, everybody's doing a great job dropping down single file. We saw a little bit of 2 wide action, and then drivers got back in the move. You're watching Scott Crump in the number 90 machine. He's chasing Josh Robbins' number 8 machine. Doesn't look like we've seen any big passes here. We a little bit of smoke there on the back straightaway, but not seeing any incidents. And I called it too soon. The caution flag comes out. Not quite sure what the incident is, as it does not show on live timing and scoring, as I believe it may have been Tyler Baker. Let's take a quick look at the replay and see what may have happened there.
No, I believe it might have been Brent Jones. Maybe got a little sideways coming out of turn 2. But no, no caution or should have been needed for that. I didn't see anyone behind him. I didn't see anything that caused it to make it any worse than what it was. Just a simple sideways action in coming out of turn 2, which is very easy to do here.
Yeah, sometimes the iRacing gods giveth, and sometimes they taketh away. And that's one of those kind of goofy things where iRacing will throw a flag for what we as racers think is unneeded. And then sometimes they will completely miss a call where all the racers are begging for a caution. So one of those things that combined with netcode, you just kind of get you get what's handed to you as we bring out our first caution of the night.
Yeah, this track is notorious for his car will spin down low and no caution for it to come out usually. I'm surprised that one actually did bring out a caution. It's just that these front and back straightaways are so wide, but where iRacing can be able to justify a caution, it has to be up high enough to where it would be into technical racing groove. But that's all determined on where the drivers are driving at, really. But yeah, one thing that's going to get me concerned, obviously, during this whole race, and it's very, very easy to see here, is coming out of turn 2. There's good chance of a big stack up or a big pile up when the car just turns sideways like the 89 did. Luckily, he was far enough back to where it didn't really collect up anybody. So we're gonna take a breath of that one, luckily, and everyone gets to keep their nice paint schemes for tonight a little longer.
Now, as we are rolling around under caution, pacing, as they say, I'd like to once again thank Blue Egg Marketing for coming on board as a sponsor. For a growing business with limited staff, they are the marketing strategists and tacticians, the thinkers and the doers. They're not just an advertising agency, a PR firm, website developers, or graphic designers. They are your dedicated marketing department. So check them out, blueeggmarketing.com, coming on board for the Elite Racing Truck Series and supporting all their favorite racers. So again, thank you, Blue Egg Marketing, for coming on board this season. We greatly appreciate you guys.
Well, while you got your eye on the 90 cars, blinks a little bit in and out there, that's another beautiful paint scheme for throwback night. That one is for Scott Crump there. That's a Kenny Irwin paint scheme in Cup. What he raced in truck, actually. He raced in truck a few years back in that paint scheme there. So that's another beautiful paint scheme. And right behind him is the 56, as you can see right there. That's a Ron Hornaday paint scheme. I believe there's a couple of those tonight. But beautiful paint jobs up here in the front that we can kind of showcase. As, again, we'll hopefully try to get a little bit more through the back as the night goes on.
Yeah, especially if we keep our current run of green flag laps, we may have ample opportunity to cycle through the field and see what's going to happen, as we're going to get them re-racked too wide and as far back as the eye can see. It's going to be Robin and Crump on the front row once more, followed by Lytle and Terrian, and then Abbott and Bourne rounding out our third row. But the pace car is in. All eyes are on the number 8, Robin, to see when the hammer is going to drop here. And away they go, Gerald, for another start here at Darlington.
Oh, yeah, and you can see the snake line. Guys deciding on if they're going to be able to get the room, if they got up far enough to be able to clear the driver. Again, your best hopes is to be single file by the time you get into this turn, because that turn 2 wall comes at you very roughly, as you see a couple of them get real close to it. That's a good way to end your night, is just to hit that wall coming at turn 2.
Yeah, right now we're watching Corey Abbott, Chad Thornquist going side by side. Abbott was trying to make something happen on the low line. I'm not sure if he's going to stick with it or try and back out, because here comes Dustin Dewar in the number 32 machine with a massive run, trying to make something happen here. And as we cycle back a couple more spots, I believe that's going to be Wyatt Nadel in the number 84 machine, also going too wide until he's allowed an opportunity to slot in. As we go back up front, Josh Robin in the number 8 machine clicks off the fastest lap of the race, a 31.28. But here we go, another caution here as somebody took a wild ride.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure exactly where. Again, big field of trucks tonight, and just kind of determine where it's coming from is hard. It looks like it was Brody Moore. Looks like he's got quite a bit of damage in the 90 or in the number 11 truck here.
We'll see if we can find that instant replay here for you.
Yeah, and the 94 looks like he's got caught up into a little bit.
We'll cycle back a little bit further. It was a Kendall Noah player. You're right. The number 94 machine. Heavy damage. Let's see what happens to Noah as he kind of disappears about the racetrack. Weird to see so much connectivity issues from all of our drivers here today. Not quite sure what's going on, as that's an odd. We've seen different drivers blinking out and having issues, so I'm not sure if that may be attributing to the cautions we've seen so far, as things are a little weird. There we go. Josh Robbins, Scott Crump still out front, but very odd to see the problems we're having here.
Yeah, we didn't get to see obviously with the connection issues with Noah Player, but he had a beautiful paint scheme with Boris Said when he raced in trucks. I don't know if you knew that Boris Said raced in trucks in '97, so a cool little throwback that he had to probably Google and research pretty far back to be able to get one like that. So another little cool paint scheme. Unfortunately, we had to see it due to a wreck, but yeah, it's just interesting to see where some of these guys got some of these inspirations from.
Yeah, it's always cool seeing the sim enthusiasts that have been race fans their entire life kind of get their opportunity to go out and play race car driver from the comfort of their home, and we save a whole lot of money here in iRacing. There's a lot less damage to repair when you have a bad night iRacing. Now, Gerald, speaking of damage, are there any fast repairs in tonight's race, or is it a one-and-done incident?
No, one and done. If you get wrecked or you got damage, you're going to have to live with it for the rest of the night, and that's what, unfortunately, some of these guys have. As I'm going through the field, and a lot of these trucks show a good sign of obviously tapping off the walls, unfortunately. So some of them are going down pit road now to try to get as much as they can repaired. Again, there is no quick repair, so unfortunately, if you do hit that wall at Darlington here, it's going to stay with you for the rest of the night.
Yeah, Mark Rebelis, the number 99 machine, he's in pit lane. Tyler Baker, he's also involved. I believe Kendall Noah Player out for the night. Yeah, there's a few drivers. It looks like we have about 36 still out on track right now. And one thing's for certain, Josh Robbins, Scott Crump are going to get their restart practice going on, as we're already on our second caution, 10 laps in. These guys are going to have quite the night ahead of them, and this is the pace we're going to be running all evening. Josh Robbins, Scott Crump, our front row here today, getting ready for a restart. It should be about lap 11 or 12 once they get this party started once more.
To go back a little bit further, just to go over some more of these paint schemes while we still got a chance here. You got the 10 of obviously Jared Rexing, driving a throwback that I don't know if you can call it a throwback because he likes racing this paint scheme quite often, but he's got himself a Jeff Green paint scheme. You'll see him in most races with it, but it's a throwback night. You can still kind of throw it back to that and mention it here.
Yeah, the Nesquik looking, the race truck looking great in that Chevrolet Silverado. Right now, Rexing finds himself 5th on track. He's up 2 spots from where he started tonight, so making some moves early on. It's going to be interesting to see if he's going to keep that momentum and maybe keep working on the short runs here today, because I think he's going to have plenty of opportunities for it, as we've already had 2 cautions 11 laps in.
Another one that we're going to have to keep. I mentioned earlier, Do Good Motorsports. They have their own race going on. They've got the Days of Thunder paint schemes going, and 2 of them have Cole Trickle, and the other one has Robbie Burns. That's going to be interesting to see who wins tonight. Is it going to be a Cole Trickle night, or if it's going to be a Robbie Burns night? 32 right there, running back in 9th is a Cole Trickle paint scheme. So right now, Cole Trickle is leading.
A lot of great racing out there. And again, like you said, there's so many great talented racers on track. Even when you're not in the top 10, you're still finding a friend to race with, as Josh Robin, number 8 machine, the Ford F-150, gets his spectacular launch over Scott Crump. Tate Lytle holding off Terrian in the number 38 machine, as our top 4 are currently running exactly where they started. It's the midfield back. We've seen the shenanigans and the heartbreak, as I believe all these guys are just wanting to drop into single file formation for as long as they can, try and get some laps underneath them to get ready for our first stage of the night, as it has been 12 laps, 13 laps now, as Robin takes the start-finish line, and a long way to go. Now, Gerald, I was under the impression we can get about 50 laps of fuel under green flag conditions. Does that sound correct to you?
Yeah, 50 laps is looking like the max that you can get onto it. Obviously, caution's extended, but it looks like we have the stages here at 45 set, so we're gonna. If you're up front, you're probably not wanting to risk to go back there in that craziness. So you probably won't see any of these front guys pit just yet. But we don't. What the biggest factor here at Darlington always ends up being is not so much fuel, as much as tires. Tires here just are eaten up as this old track surface just seems to tear them apart. So as tires get torn up, the more it starts to slide. And one thing you don't want to do here at Darlington is slide too much. So we're going to have to see and just kind of check on it. I think it's going to be a more determining factor of tires than fuel tonight.
Now, Jerry, you touched on tires. Right now, our leaders are running high 29s. Both Robin and Crump clicked off 29.79s each, with Crump actually clicking off a 29.75, the fastest of the lap of the race. We are 15 laps in, about 5 of which have been ran under green flag conditions. How long is it going to be before we see these drivers start to fall off the pace and start plowing that front end through the turns here at Darlington and really struggle to hold on to it? Is that going to be lap 30, 40? When do you expect to see it?
They'll tell us, because we'll start seeing trucks start slapping the wall. There's a pretty obvious sign. I always felt like in the trucks here with the tires, there's kind of like a cliff that you just reach. And when you reach that little bit of the limit, it's night and day. All of a sudden it's driving good, and the next thing you know, it's just your worst enemy. So we'll know about the same time the drivers know. When they hit that wall, that's about the time when the tires are gone. But we see Scott Crump really starting to gain and catch up onto Robin here as it's just getting tighter and tighter up the front.
Yeah, Crump currently 20th in points after a rough season opener at Daytona. He started 13th there, and he finished in 19th. And even led 4 laps, but a one big crash kind of ruined his race and set him way back. So it's good to see Crump out front charging hard, and hopefully we've seen him blink a few times in that number 90 machine, so hopefully the internet problems kind of get sorted out as he is putting the pressure on Josh Robin and the Miller Lite backed number 8 Ford F-150, your current race leader. Right now it is a Ford up front, and then he's chased by 4 Toyotas in the top 5. Crump, Terrian, Lytle, Bourne, all running Toyota here in the top 5. But Crump not willing to give Robin any chance of a break up front, and these guys are really putting on shows. Look at that. Josh Robin has an internet problem. So everybody from front to back having connectivity issues, and this is going to be quite the wild night if guys are not able to get that under control. I'm not sure what's happening with iRacing tonight, but as you know, Gerald, it just takes one moment, one blink, and you can find yourself maybe occupying the other space of what you thought was occupied by a race truck. So these guys have got to be careful here today.
Yeah, it takes a tough track to pass that. It makes it a little bit harder there. So that's unfortunate. Hopefully it steadies out here as the race goes on. But right now Robin's leading it. Again, you just have to worry about how far you're pushing it. How hard do you need to stay in front of somebody, because once they go, those tires go, they go in a hurry. So hopefully these guys up front here aren't pushing it too hard, or they're going to end up being right in the middle of a bad situation with a lot of faster trucks coming up on them.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's told our 4th through 7th place drivers as we see Tom Bourne make a move over Tate Lytle's number 56 machine. Meanwhile, Chad Thornquist and Jared Rexing also both battling hard here. So things are shaking up, not quite in the top 3 as those drivers are in single file, really not having any issues, but from 4th to 6th place back, they are still trying to make some moves happen as we've got passes being made all across the racetrack. Drivers are driving really hard out there, and we still have 35 drivers out on track charging hard, and like I said, that's pretty impressive to have such a massive field here today. Now, I wonder how long it's going to be a factor before lap traffic comes into play, because that is going to be spectacular to watch the leaders cut through. What do you think is going to happen there, Gerald?
Well, hopefully the lap down cars kind of give a room or a lane. They just need a lane and let the faster cars really pick where they're going to go. A lot of these trucks that you see in the back that they're going to be catching up on are pretty damaged, and they know how their night already is, and last thing they want to do is cause a bigger situation. So that's what we're going to be looking for, is unfortunately some of these guys that have had rough nights, hopefully just making sure that they don't ruin anyone else's when they come up on them. But as you see the 8 car here with Robin starting to back up, they're already a second slower than what they qualified at, and they've had maybe about 15 laps of green. So again, as I like to just state, it's one of those things with this track is just the tire fall off is big here. So that's one thing that they're going to have to worry about when they get up on some of these lap cars is if they make a move, is it going to stick?
Yeah, it's going to be quite the wild ride for all of our competitors as you're watching Scott Crump trying to chase down Josh Robin. Meanwhile, Terry in the number 38 machine seems to be getting closer and closer to our top two drivers as he looks like he's making a move here. I think Robin may have had a bit of a moment, so it's going to allow Crump to take over the race lead. Terrian takes second, and Robin's going to get shuffled back to third. So already on early tonight, we're seeing things shake up in our top three, as I think this is going to be an opportunity for drivers to showcase who's better at saving tires over the long run. It is, as you and I both know, it's not who can go out and fast lap the fastest, put down a record-breaking lap time. That does you no good if you start rapidly falling off the pace and working your way to the back. So let's see if Crump and Terrian can keep the pace underneath them and maintain that forward momentum, as we've got some new race leaders and still plenty of action. We've got about 20 laps left to go on the stage, and all these guys driving great out there today.
Yeah, they truly are. Like I said, Scott Crump made a pass on Robin there when he got up just a little bit too high. They are catching some lap cars. I believe they're catching up on the 81 of Alexander Gray and a beautiful, it looks like Steve Park paint scheme and Pennzoil. Yes, they are.
And look at the Darlington race stripes on the side of that Pennzoil machine having his own incident. Alexander Gray, again, he's about 34th on track, and he is not that far ahead of your race leaders. Here they come now. It's Scott Crump, Shane Terry, and Josh Robin charging hard. We're going to see, I believe, the Pennzoil-backed race truck possibly move to the inside line. Now, Jared, if you're out on track right now and you're a lead lap truck, where would you want to try and get the lap down drivers to move to? Would you rather have them on the low line, the high line? What's the best spot for everybody?
Just a line. Again, if you're the fast car, again, it's so scary whenever this track here. Again, it's one groove, so the last thing you want to see is a lap down car sliding up because they've got damage. So it's already a handful for them. So just as long as they stay in a groove, if they're going to stay up high, stay up high. If they're going to go to the bottom, stay in the bottom. But we do have a caution out now.
I believe that maybe Tyler Baker and maybe some other friends involved. Let's check the replay here. You're watching Baker in the number 13 machine. Let's see what happens. He gets a little bit loose all on his lonesome and sends it wicking around. And unfortunately just taps the inside wall. Takes a little bit of damage, number 13 machine, but that will bring out another caution here today.
Yeah, he goes ahead and takes it down pit road. So he's already, I believe, called it done for the night. Front end collision in the wall like that's going to obviously do some damage there. Now we got a decision to make. Are you going to come down pit road? Because there is a limited amount of tires. There's no quick repairs, but there is a limited amount of tires. I believe there's only going to be 3 or 4 sets. I haven't checked on that just yet, but as we say, with tires being such a big factor in this race, if you're going to get the tires now, are you going to take it away from a set for later on and at the end of the race? And it looks like most of our leaders here are just opting to just kind of save that. They're looking for the long-term victory here than the short term. So, but there is quite a few cars down pit road right now. They're calling it a white flag on these tires. Again, with a big drop off like that, some of them are looking at wanting to just make sure that they make it to the end, regardless if they're going to be fast or not.
Yeah, Josh Robin, Jared Rexing, Chad Thornquist, Tom Bourne, Dustin Dewar, Adams, Martinez, Jones, all bringing on to pit lane a little bit early here. So that's going to be interesting. So Crump is going to maintain the race lead. Terry in the number 38 machine is second. And that has allowed Thomas Sherman, Chad Frankenfield, and Bronson Stafford to move up in the top 5. Now, Sherman, Frankenfield, Bronson have all moved up over 10 spots each here today, able to charge up to the front under caution, valuing track position a little bit more worth it to them than the fresh set of tires. But let's see if they have the pace to stick with Crump. Crump has been one of those drivers in multiple series across the Elite Racing League that keeps the tire wear really underneath him and in check. But he's got to wonder, are the newcomers to the top 5 going to push very hard very early on and try and battle him, or what's going to happen? Are they going to follow in tow and see if they can watch the veteran driver and kind of learn from the number 90 machine to see what he's going to do out front?
One thing that we're going to have to keep an eye on is Robin, Thornquist, Rexing. A lot of those guys that we saw start to fade there, they did come down pit road, so that's where we're going to have to be keeping an eye on, because we saw just in 15 laps of green flag, this race speed went down a whole second. That's a lot. That's a lot of speed to be different on from the guys that just now came down pit road and got some tires to who just stayed out on the racetrack. So we're gonna see a few drivers with more confidence in their tires than those that don't. So we're gonna see some of these guys starting to move their way and try to make some passes as they try to get back up to the front. The stage end is only going to be 15 laps from now, so a lot of these guys back here are maybe opting to go towards some stage points and maybe capitalize on that area of points tonight.
Yeah, I think what's going to be really exciting is cautions always breed cautions. So now you've got some fast guys in that midfield or back after taking tires, and that could spell calamity as you've got some very fast guys that are trying to make their way through the top 15, through the top 10 on guys still on their original set of tires. In our top 10 is just Josh Adams and Ethan Burrell that came in on lap 8. It was the last time they came in for tires, or maybe a splash of fuel, so it's going to be interesting to see what exactly happens and if this leads to calamity or if we're able to get some green flag runs here today.
Yeah, it looks like the top 20 stayed out, and 20th on back is going to be with new tires and new hopes and aspirations. So that's what we're going to be focusing on when this green flag goes out. It's just keeping an eye on to see if these guys are able to get through the pack cleanly or if this is going to end up setting up more cautions here towards the end.
Pace car should be making its way in this time by. It's going to be Crump and Terry in the front row. The two Toyotas out front. Behind them, Chad Frankenfield, Thomas Sherman, and then Bronson Stafford and Sean Ryan making up our front 3 rows for the Tilson 200 at Darlington. Looking forward to seeing what these drivers can do. Who's going to hang it out? We don't have that many laps left till our stage end. But, I mean, these guys haven't put a ridiculous amount of wear on the tires. We've only gone maybe 15, 20 laps under green flag conditions total tonight. But the pace car is in, and here we go. It's going to be Crump and Terrian out front. Let's see what happens. Gerald, what do you think is about to happen here?
Regular Darlington shenanigans. It's going to be, unfortunately, it's going to be a lot of door banging going into this turn from the guys with new tires to the guys that are with old. Even though it is only 15 laps, that's a lot here. So we're gonna see a lot of difference in speed.
Yeah, it looks like our top 5, top 10 drivers seem to be pretty happy dropping in single file. We take it back to Nicholas Darter, currently 10th on track, number 48 machine. He is going side by side with the 04 Hunter Smith. Now, Darter on your screen, his truck says 84, but his transponder does say 48. So it may have grabbed the wrong one or maybe plugged in the numbers backwards. But even the top 10 drivers seem to be going single file. Now, let's cycle back a little bit further. You've got Jared Rexing, the number 10 machine. One of the few drivers on that fresh set of tires. He's going to be charging through the field here, trying to get around Kendall Noah Player in the number 94 machine. Now, Kendall Noah was involved in one of those early incidents that brought out of caution, and Rexing is charging through the field here, already working his way back up to 13th. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how long he can make that happen, or is he going to risk it too much and possibly involve himself with a wreck here. But so far, the Nesquik car looking pretty clean out there.
Yeah, if I had to put some money onto it, I believe Rexing's going to walk away with the stage win. He's already worked his way up into 12th place, and he started back in 22nd on that restart. So already a net gain of almost 10 spots just within a couple laps. As you could see just the difference right there between him and the 46 and just pure pace of tires.
Yeah, those tires really paying off well for him, but you got to wonder as well if he has a caution come out, which has been kind of the norm. We haven't really been able to get more than 5 to 10 laps on average of green flag laps. How bad that could hurt his chances if we do finish the stage under. Oh, here we go. We called it right in time. I'm not quite sure who that was. I believe that was Nicholas Darter going for a wild ride. And the number 48, again, it's 84 on your screen, able to keep it pointing the right direction. But, man, just got a little bit loose on the start-finish line straight and sent it absolute sideways. Meanwhile, Rexing still charging hard. He's worked his way back up into the top 10. Now he's going to try and work on Ethan Burrell. Alec Balvin's currently running 8th and 9th on track as they're putting on a show as well, going side by side. This cannot last long before the caution comes out, as everyone is absolutely sending it here at Darlington.
Yeah, the question is not going to be so much when the caution, or who's going to be the caution. It's just going to be a matter of when and where. As you see, as he just works his way through the field. The only thing he can hope for is just that he doesn't get involved in whatever chaos pursues in front of him. So he's already worked his way up to, it looks like, 8th position. Again, he's just going to hopefully click off the next few. It looks like to be 8 more laps left in the stage to hopefully get up there to the front to get the stage win.
Now, Ryan Scholl was just involved in an incident as well. He got on pit road in time, so the caution did not come out the top right of your screen. That was Scholl making his way onto pit road. So almost had the caution come out to ruin the chances of Jared Rex in number 10 machine, who is, again, if you're just tuning in, is kind of the storyline for the moment. He's one of the few drivers that took tires on lap 28 coming in for a full pit stop, and now he is charging his way through the field as he is battling with Josh Adams. It looks like he may be able to get clear of Adams. Look at this. Here comes Chad Thornquist as well in number 92. It's almost impossible to see Thornquist's number running black numbers on a black truck for some crazy reason. But Thornquist is going to try and follow behind Jared Rexing as Rexing has moved back up to 6th. Thornquist is up to 7th. And I don't know, we might see Rexing make his way all the way up to the front here for the stage. And if so, that would be extremely impressive out of the number 10 truck.
Well, that's what I bet on. I don't know. It's getting close there. His tires are starting to go. Again, it's going to be it depends on if he's going to come down pit road next time when the stage ends comes, or if he's going to stay out. If it's going to be staying out, it's his decision. He's going to find himself in the same predicament as the people he's passing right now when that happens.
Yeah, I'm not sure where I would want to be here because, I mean, the stage point's very, very important. I think the biggest thing that I would want to try and do is just not be in that mid-pack because that's where we've seen a whole lot of heartbreak for drivers. But Rexing still charging up the field as he gets around the number 15, Chad Frankenfield. Now he's, look at this, they're going to go 3 wide at Darlington. That never ends well as Rexing charging hard. He's made his way up into 3rd, barely in front of Thomas Sherman. Now he's trying to work on Terrian and take over 2nd place. But the absolute mad lad, Jared Rexing, has done it. He's been about a half second faster than the rest of the competition towards the end of the stage. Is he going to have enough time, Joe, to check up to Scott Crump? Crump still has about 8/10 of advantage over the 2nd place Jared Rexing, but this is quite the show here today.
Yeah, I don't think Scott Crump's got anything for the 10 right now. Again, I knew it was going to be fast. I didn't know he was going to be putting his truck on the line that much to be able to get up to the front, but it paid off. He's going to have laps to his name to be able to finish off the stage win, so I think he's going to be able to get him here in the next turn.
And just like that, you called it. He's going to go side by side with Scott Crump down the backstretch into turns 3 and 4. He's going to get clear nice and easy, so now your new race leader, Jared Rexing. Chad Thornquist not able to cut through traffic quite as cleanly and maybe playing a little bit more conservatively, not wanting to risk his race car or race truck as much as Rexing appears he was willing to let it all hang out in the number 10 machine. But Thornquist has moved up to 3rd place after taking tires on lap 28. Jacob Adams, who pitted lap 28, has worked his way back up to 5th, as well as Daniel Martinez, who also boxed lap 28, number 83 driver, has moved back into 9th. So a few of those drivers, it seems the bet has really paid off for him, but we're going to bring out the crash again, the yellow flag again, as Tyler Dixon and James Sauls both involved in an incident here today.
Yeah, I believe that will end the stage. So Jared Rexing will absolutely get the stage point at the end and 10 extra points to his name before the night's end. Not quite sure where the wreck started at.
I don't think iRacing is rendering it properly here today. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it looks like the 21 and the 20, not the 24. That's
yeah. Look, it's just it's lagging.
Tyler Rex. Yeah, well, it was the 21, which was James Souls in a Richard Petty Cup scheme, and it was, I believe, that was. Again, it's hard to say with it. Flashing in and out for us. Yeah, 54 of Scott Dixon, or not Scott Dixon.
Tyler Dixon. Tyler Dixon, James
yeah.
Sauls, I believe, is who that was.
Yeah. I believe he had a Jeff Gordon paint scheme on, but to be honest with you, I believe that same truck ran in the truck series with Scott Lagasse and Terry Labonte, so it could be a throwback to 3 different drivers. Who knows?
Why we have a quick break in the action as we get ready to do our stage finish. We're going to take a quick break, maybe play with some settings, but don't go anywhere, everybody. We'll be right back. All right, we're back for the stage end here. As it's going to be interesting to see who's going to come into pit lane and who's going to opt to stay out. Bronson Stanford, who was third on track number 61 machine, he brings it down to pit lane. Now, are we going to see Rexing, who opted to come in on lap 28? It looks like he's going to stay out.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to stay out. That's what I suspect. There is a limited amount of tires. I think he's just going to take it as a victory for the stage and hopefully survive the onslaught that's going to be coming here shortly with the fresh tires. Is again, half the field decided to come down pit road the last time, and the other half decided to stay out. And looks like we're going to have that split again. So it's between two strategies. That strategy won the stage in. We're about to see if it plays out for the next stage here. As we'll have another stage caution at lap 90. So we'll see if Rexing's plan, if how far back he falls, if he's going to still be within points, or if he's going to end up having a very damaged-looking truck at the end of it all.
Yeah, it's a tough gamble to make, Drew. I mean, I don't know what I would do as driver. Yes, the points are very important, but the last thing I would want to do is find myself towards the back. But I guess to his benefit, we've seen Rexing cut through the field once already tonight, so maybe if he kind of, you don't want to say sacrifices this stage, but maybe uses it as a chance to save some tires and fuel. And I guess to his benefit as well, he's got about 10 drivers in the top 10. It looks to be about the top 10 that have not come in since lap 28, so he's among good company and may just hope that he can use those other trucks to fend off. I believe it's going to be Scott Crump coming back out on track in 9th place. Will be leading that second pack of cars that all came in on lap 44. So it's going to be interesting. Now, Gerald, are we going to run to lap 90 for a second stage, or what are we looking at here?
Yeah, it's going to be lap 90 for a second stage. If I had to guess what Rexing's thinking about, he's not thinking about winning the next stage. He probably knows that all the passing he did is about to come back at him and be done the same way. So he knows where the tires are at and how hard he had to push it there just to get that stage win. So even though it was only about 10 laps of green, that's still going to be a pretty significant amount. I do believe he's going to end up falling a few positions. Again, it's just going to be determined whether if it's clean passes or if it's going to be ones with contact in it.
Yeah, hopefully Rexing's going to be able to keep it clean. And something we touched on earlier too, Gerald, is there's about 50 laps of fuel on these race trucks. Is Rexing going to be able to make it till the end of the stage without having to come in for fuel? Or is he going to possibly be banking on some more cautions here today?
Well, there's a big checkup for the start of that, so I don't know if that answers your question there, but if I had to make a guess, you kind of just go with how the theme of the night's going. And the theme of the night has been a very, like his vehicle, very yellow. So I'm pretty sure he's expecting that some of the guys that stayed out behind him will stack things up and maybe cause a little bit of calamity to where maybe he might be able to save enough or come down later on for a splash and go.
Yeah, right now we're watching Scott Crump, number 90 machine. Crump, he's got two drivers in front of him that have also on the same pit strategy, Chad Frankenfield and Chad Thornquist running 7th and 8th. And I think this is where it's going to get exciting as well. We saw Rexing able to cut through traffic. Are these drivers on the lap 44 set of tires going to be able to do the same, as they are really stacking up in front of them? You said it well. Judging by that start, I would not predict good things for this stage. But it looks like they're able to start cutting through some of the traffic here. But man, oh man, the closing speeds among these drivers on different strategies is almost terrifying to see how quickly, how much faster some drivers are than the others as they try and blitz through here.
Yeah, it just, as you see the three oh wow, the three almost got into the side of them. Again, older tires, you're going to have to be careful. They are going to be sliding more than you. But so far, so good for him, as he's gotten through the thick of it at least. So where maybe he can start picking them off. But one driver in front of him that seemed to have got through it better was Chad Frankenfield in the number 15 there. So Chad's right now the leader of the guys with the new tires. So he's looking forward. He's gotten through that thickness of those slower trucks, and he's on to bigger and better things, it looks like. He is running a paint scheme of Rich Bickle. I've never heard of him, but Rich Bickle. I guess he was a truck series driver back in the day.
Yeah, and Frankenfield blitzing through traffic. He's already worked it down to 0.2 of a second between himself and 4th place driver Brent Jones, the number 89 machine. So I think Frankenfield's pulling a Rexing here and just kind of able to get through the traffic a little bit cleaner than some guys. As look at that, Jones kind of gives him the preferred line, dropping down low, realizing, hey, I don't have anything for him right now. As, man, Frankenfield rapidly catching up to the front of the pack. He's about to take over Corey Abbott, number 7 machine. And, man, these guys are just blitzing through the field right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a strategy of just when to use your tires or not. It looks like that's going to be the key tonight. It's just when to put them on and when to save them. Know when to hold them and when to fold them. So, yeah, he's already up to third. He's going to be passing Robin probably, if not this turn, the next turn.
Oh, Robin.
Oh, that's not what you want to do.
Robin gets into the outside wall, takes a little bit of damage. Scott Crump able to get through, as well as Corey Abbott, Chad Thornquist. But Darlington starting to rear her ugly head, and drivers really starting to tighten up and push to the outside wall. As Scott Crump is leading both Chad Thornquist, Corey Abbott, all these guys on the same tire strategy. Now out front, Jared Rexing still able to hold on. There we go.
We're gonna wreck. Oh, yep, that's not. Robin was put into a tight situation, 3 wide, and unfortunately, they are still piling them up. Our winner from Daytona is involved as well, pretty badly, as that collect up about good 6 or 7 cars there.
Absolute yard sale here at Darlington. Just not enough real estate for all these drivers to make their way around. A huge hit for the number 1 machine, Thomas Thurman. He's involved. Josh Robin, Tom Bourne, Bronson Stafford, all involved in that incident, as there's just not a lot of racetrack to go around here. One incident like that can ruin yourself and everyone else's opportunity. And man, that is a rough way to bring out a caution, as it looks like the number 1 machine of Sherman will be done for the night, as he is smoking heavily out of that thing. Jared Rexing, somehow your race leader, still the number 10 driver on that older set of tires. Again, he has not pitted since lap 28, and if he does stay out here, it is going to get very, very exciting, as it looks like he is going to dive into pit lane, the number 10, and maybe top off here.
As you see some of them coming down, smoking Thomas Sherman there. Yeah, that's tough. That took out a lot of front runners there that were on that strategy of new tires, trying to work their way up back through the field. Unfortunately, that's something that you don't want to see happen. It all started when looks like Robin and Chad Frankenfield made a little bit of contact going into the turn, and that kind of just sent Robin right into the thick of things, as he just could not get up to speed fast enough and was put into a very bad predicament there.
Looks like the only driver in the top 10 that has not come in since lap 28, Dustin Dewar, number 32 machine. He's currently 10th on track. He's down 1 spot from where he started tonight. But other than that, oh no, I take it back. Corey Abbott, currently 4th on track, the number 7 Ford F-150. He's staying out as well on those lap 28 tires and trying to risk it. So interesting to see what the strategy is going to be and how it's going to develop here today. As you see the Lucky Dog starting to come into play, I believe that may be Josh Hodges, if not Nicholas Darter with the Lucky Dog.
Well, let's just go back and just restate that. Unfortunately, that did take out our drivers or the winner from Daytona, Tom Bourne. But luckily, he does have a win to his name, so he is locked into the chase. So maybe not as a hard hit for him, but it did take out some other drivers like Brandon Stafford. He's going to be out. Thomas Sherman went head on to the wall. Looks like Robin's got some heavy damage. And then, yeah, like I said, we still got quite a few trucks for the rest of the race here. But, again, some of the top runners are definitely out for the night. So that's going to bring some new names up to the front. If it just depends on what strategy you ran, if you're involved in that or not.
I'm curious to see, are we going to see anybody try and stretch it out on fuel here? Again, we know they can go 50 laps. That's going to put somebody like Corey Abbott pretty short on fuel if it was a green flag the whole run, as he'd have to come in around lap 78. But is he going to be able to stretch out another 12 laps if we continue with a caution fest? If he's able to do that, he can have a whole lot of tires left in reserve for the end, and that could be a strategy we see play out for some of the drivers here tonight.
Yeah, I feel like that was not into the play for a lot of those guys that had stayed out that previous caution. I think they were wanting a little bit more laps of green flag, because I think that was only a few, maybe like 4 or 5 green flag laps. Not going to be a tremendous amount of speed difference, which is going to be good for green flag racing. But I know a lot of those guys back there that pitted probably were hoping for a little bit longer green flag, so that way they could optimize the tires, because some of those that just took tires are now have 2 sets used compared to some of those guys that you see up front now that have only used 1. So again, we might not see the run through the field as we've seen the 2 previous cautions from some of the newer tire guys, but yeah, some of those guys that maybe have stayed out are just hoping maybe for a caution a little later on to where they can better use that second set.
Yeah, tire strategy, I think it's going to be the name of the game here tonight. That and track position, the 2 things that are going to really decide. Now, it's going to be Frankenfield and Crump on the front row. Who are we going to see try and survive this? As everybody's looking great and clean for the most part in the top 10, but every time we restack the field, it gives more opportunity for more calamity. So let's see if Frankenfield, as he gives us a bit of a wiggle on the number 15 machine, if he can hold on to it against Scott Crump, Corey Abbott, Thornquist, Burrell, our top 5 drivers, as we get ready to send them green once more. Away we go. Frankenfield with a great launch. He kind of leaves Crump and Thornquist just in his dust there. As who is that towards the back? Is that Burrell we see making moves, number 19 machine, or at least trying to? We're on board with Ethan Burrell, the number 19 machine, right behind Corey Abbott. And look at that. That's a great pass.
Wrecking back. Rexing is around. Noah is involved. It looks like the 89 of Brent Jones involved as well. None of it looks like to be hard hits. It looks like it all just started with the 10 car there, or 10 truck there. Just got a little bit too sideways. Hit that apron, and just around it went.
Yeah, spot on. Kind of sent himself around all by his lonesome, and then the field with nowhere to go. Absolutely drills Rexing as well. I believe that was the number 25 driver with a great recovery. I mean, as far as crashes go at Darlington, could have been worse for everybody involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Worst thing that would have happened is if one of those creamed off the wall and came back up right in front of the racing group there. So luckily, kind of self-cleaning track there, just all went down. Luckily, didn't come back up. So we'll be thankful for that. But again, that's what happens. A lot of these drivers that went back there, they put themselves right back into the thick of it. I mean, you've seen Jared Rexing, the winner of Stage 1, get involved in that. And that was just him trying to just trying to find a lane. Again, a lot of times you want to try to go into turn 1 and 2 single file, because it's not the preferred to be running as low as he did. And unfortunately, when you run through there side by side, you kind of force yourself have to be in a groove that you haven't been in all night.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, Rexing, as far as crashes go, again, it didn't look that bad, but it's going to be interesting to see how that damage really affects him in the long run, because I think the worst part of that, even in addition to the damage, is putting himself further back in the field, currently 21st on track, as he's coming into pit lane to maybe get some repairs done on that number 10 backed racing Chevrolet. And he does not want to go a lap down here at Darlington. I guess in his favor, he does have a good opportunity for some multiple lucky dogs as the night progresses, but you do not want to be that mid-packer back here today.
Yeah, because there's also a battle for the lucky dogs. There are a few people already 1 lap down. It seems like we only have 26 trucks on the lead lap now after the calamity that we've had as the night progressed. So we're not quite halfway, and we're about half the trucks already.
Yeah, a lot of drivers having a rough night here tonight, and I think it's going to be a game of attrition for everybody to see who can stay out there and just survive at Darlington, and then worry about the rest of the race, trying to pick up some positions where they can.
Yeah, this is going to be disheartening for a lot of people, because if they were involved in a wreck at Daytona, which was a story that most of them could tell, majority of drivers that went to Daytona did not have the fortune they hoped for. And unfortunately, back-to-back tracks where wrecks and cautions seem to have put a lot of people into a position they don't want to be for this series, as they, again, only have an 8-race rate to the chase. So only 8 races to get through, and if you've already got 2 wrecks in the book, not a story you want to be telling everybody as you try to work your way back. It's going to be a hard road to follow to try to get yourself into a very small 12 driver championship run.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what we're going to see there is Frankenfield. He has a little bit of a blink as well in the number 15 machine. Again, yeah, short season, not a lot of opportunity to fix any mistakes, but on the other hand, not a lot of opportunity to play it safe either, so it's going to be interesting to see who kind of wins the gamble here. Right now, Frankenfield is up 18 positions in the number 15 machine, our current race leader. But let's also talk about Ethan Burrell in the number 19 machine. He is up 26 spots so far tonight from where he originally started, currently running 5th on track. So, I mean, there's moves to be made. Alec Balvans, he's up 33 spots, currently in 7th. So some guys are able to win the lottery here at Darlington, and some other guys have definitely been on the short end of the stick, as we've seen a lot of drivers fall off. Only 26 on the lead lap here today. I don't know who's going to be left standing at the end of this one here, Gerald.
Yeah, you won't know. You won't know. Even until the last lap, you probably won't know. Not at this track. It's not a track where you can, predict what's going to actually happen, because, again, it's Lady Black for a reason. It's too tough to tame. No one's tamed it here tonight. We've seen multiple different drivers up front. We've seen multiple drivers up front that are now behind the wall or getting repaired as we speak. So, it's not going to be a driver dominant track, it looks like tonight, as tires are playing too much of a factor. The coming and goings are almost too much for us to even keep track of.
Yeah, a lot of shenanigans all across the racetrack. The iRacing official pace car is in. It's going to be Frankenfield and Crump on the front row. Away they go. Frankenfield gets a great launch. Looks like that start went a little bit better for the drivers this time compared to the last restart, as everyone's going to try and drop single file as quickly as they can. Ethan Burrell runs along the inside of Corey Abbott. And here comes Zishan Dura. He's going to sneak through as well. Everybody trying to get some positions early on before the next caution comes out. As, man, everybody's playing a gigantic game of snake here, trying to get in line before the caution. If they can start on that inside row, they know they're in a good spot to maybe pick up another position for the upcoming restart, as our top 5 drivers finally get into a single file formation. And it looks like they're going to try and click off some laps.
Yeah, that checkup on the outside of that restart kind of stacked up. Anyone that was on the bottom was able to get a few positions there, like Zishan in the Jennifer Jo Gobb paint scheme. Again, trying to shoot shutouts when we can. There are a lot of people that participated tonight in the paint scheme. But, yeah, Zishan's running a Jennifer Jo Gobb paint scheme tonight, so he's having a good run. Still absolutely very clean, which is surprising to say for anyone tonight.
Yeah, Zishan's currently up 31 spots in the 01 machine, the Ford F-150. The last time he pit was on lap 44 with pretty much most folks in the top 10. In that top 10, you've got Jacob Adams. He's currently 7th on track. And that's pretty much it in the top 10 that has not come in since lap 44. So these guys are seeming to make it work for him, not having any big issues. As Frankenfield feeling pretty good out front. He's got about 2 truck lengths over Scott Crump in 2nd. Now it's interesting to see if these guys are willing to sit single file and click off some laps, or if we're going to see any racing in the top 5 here. I'd imagine they're just trying to get through the stage at this point.
Yeah, maybe some drivers are sick of the cautions and deciding that they're going to try to single file for a little bit before making any further moves. Or maybe some of those drivers now realize how big of a deficit tires are, and maybe trying to save a little bit for a longer run. Again, with limited amount of tires, some of these guys are probably hoping to use these tires until the end of the stage, so not using them up now might be the key for a better run later on. As we saw, that was a strategy for Scott Crump early on when he got around Robin. He ran behind just like he did now until the leader used up enough to where he was able to easily enough get around him. So why make it hard on yourself now when the driver can still be able to defend you? Maybe wait until you stalk him long enough, like a wounded lamb, and just let them bleed out a little bit to where you can just be able to pounce and make the move quick and easy.
Now, I think that's going to be Ethan Burrell's plan. He's currently 4th on track, number 19 Toyota. He's right behind Chad Thornquist. He's about 0.2 of a second back. It's going to be interesting to see. This is one of those interesting positions where the guy in front doesn't necessarily set the pace. If you're running behind another driver, if you kind of get closer and closer to that rear bumper as a racer, that kind of naturally drives you to go a little bit faster. And you may be able to pressure your friend right in front of you to maybe push harder than they had planned to at this stage of the run. We've got about 20 laps left in the stage. as our top 4 is broken up into two truck packs. It's Frankenfield and Crump, your top 2, and then Thornquist and Burrell, your second 2. Then you've got to go back over 2 seconds to Shane Terrian, 5th on track. And Terrian's kind of a no man's land here, just pushing air all by himself. He's got about a second gap over Zeshawn, and he's about 2.4 seconds back from Burrell right now.
Yeah, I think he's one of those that we're going to have to keep an eye on tonight. I know how fast he can be, so I have a good feeling that he's kind of just playing out the night and just trying to make sure that he's got a truck before the end. So most of the guys in the top 6 or 7 here have pretty clean trucks, so that's going to be, again, something that is going to be required at the end. Because if you bang it all off now, there's not going to be enough left to make these tough moves at the end of the race.
And we do know our competitors can go all the way to the end here on fuel. They came in at lap 44, and that was punctuated by cautions again. So they should be able to go to that 90-lap stage caution with ease on fuel. But as the question's been all night, how long can they keep the tires underneath them? Because these trucks can get unbearably tight to drive here at Darlington once you start really shredding those right side tires. And pretty soon you're going to see our lead drivers, Frankenfield and Crump, starting to catch lap traffic. And as everybody's really tightened up at this point in the race, it can get very, very exciting to try and cut through as lap traffic drops down to the inside line to allow our race leaders through nice and easy. No worries so far. Scott Crump putting the pressure on Frankenfield. Less than 15th hundredths of a second separates our top 2 drivers. And then you cycle it back to about a second. That's Thornquist and Burrell putting on a show of their own. That's the battle for 3rd on track. So the question is, Crump, we've seen him save tires and fuel time and again here at Darlington. I believe I've called one of his races where he finished with pretty much no gas as he crossed the start-finish line. But look at this. Here comes Crump making a move on Frankenfield as they go side by side. This late in the stage, very impressive. 15 laps, 16 laps remaining in the stage. And they're going to go side by side across the start-finish line. Frankenfield has the drive into turn 1, but look at this. Here comes Crump on the inside line, number 90 car. He's got to be careful with these moves because that's going to allow Thornquist and Burrell to catch up and maybe make it a 3-truck tango, possibly a 4-truck tango. As it looks like Crump's going to play it safe, get back in line. But man, this is gutsy with tires this worn. That is using up a little bit more traction that you may not have left in the bank, and still a long way to go before you finish this second stage here tonight.
Yeah, both drivers lose quite a bit of time when you go side by side at this track. Preferred groove is up at the top side, and see Scott trying to just back off. He's going to reassess it, see when he can be able to make the move on Chad Frankenfield. I know Chad's not going to be an easy pass. He never really is. So if Scott's going to be able to do it, as he is taking a look back underneath him, he's going to have to try to get him coming out of the turns. That's the only way. Get up far enough to where maybe you can be able to get up in front of him to be able to really squeeze him going into the next turn. Because, again, that bottom groove, as you see as they run up the top of that line up there, that's the preferred groove. No one really runs that bottom groove until you have to make a pass, and that makes the truck feel completely different. It's a completely different experience. So having to try to learn on the fly to hurry up and try to make the pass is quite difficult.
Yeah, and as Crump is finding right now, it's extremely hard to make that pass without pushing wide. The trucks are so tight at this point, it naturally wants to push and plow towards the outside wall. So you have to really trust both your driving and your competitor's driving as well. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're Frankenfield or Crump. It's a game of trust among these guys. Every time they go side by side, it's a very risky move, as Thornquist has caught the draft of Crump as well and is working his way up towards the front to maybe battle for that second place spot. Now, Gerald, as we're at the halfway mark here today, have your predictions really changed much on who may be bringing it home, or what are you thinking here at the halfway mark?
Now, there's still a few drivers that I seen from the beginning. They live up to it, to being top runners. And, you know, obviously, Scott Crump, he's shown the pace today. You still got to wonder, is everyone showing what they have just yet, or is someone still running kind of just patient, kind of just being protective of their vehicle? I don't think we're going to really know who's the fastest until about 30 laps to go. I feel like everyone's going to set themselves up. The front runners are going to be who's going to be up there battling. I think, you know, like I said, some of those drivers with the clean trucks, are telltale signs of people that are saving something for the end. So you see someone with a really clean truck, I honestly don't think they're pushing it as hard as they could.
Now, talking about people that may be saving, Dustin Dewar, the number 32 machine, he's 15th on track. He has not pitted since lap 28 here today. So I'm not quite sure what the strategy is. He's got to make it 10 more laps on fuel. It's going to be interesting. Is he one of those drivers that may be saving some tires for a mad dash here at the end? We know you can get about 20, 30 laps, and look at that. The caution comes out, as I believe it's going to be Walgreen involved in an incident.
Oh yeah, looks like he slid back up the racetrack. The worst thing to have happen, but luckily it doesn't look like anyone else got involved in that. So it was one of those things that was an actual iRacing caution that was justified. Right in the racing groove, he ends up as the classic getting loose, hitting the wall, and coming right back up the racetrack.
Oh, yeah, drivers kind of dodging and weaving, trying to get around the number 36 of Walgreen. Able to get through it clean, but that is not a good place to be parked on a racetrack, especially Darlington, as the entire field starts to check up. And you're right, it looks like everybody's able to get through it nice and clean, but man, that could have been much worse if there was other cars right behind Walgreen. That could have spelled disaster for a whole lot of people.
Yeah, that is very true. Maybe he was just trying to get a shout out to his paint scheme. I believe that's I believe that is a Slim Jim paint scheme that Terry Labonte drove. So maybe he was just trying to get a shout out. He felt left out on his paint scheme there.
Hey, whatever it takes to get up on the broadcast crew. Normally a $5 bill slid under the table will get you some TV time,
Yeah.
But if you got to wreck a car to make it happen, hey, we'll let that happen too as we bring out the caution once more. Our iRacing pace driver getting his salary's worth here today, as this has been quite the interesting race. It looks like Frankenfield, Thornquist, Burrell, Zishan, Martinez, Smith, Barbieri, and Adams staying out while the rest of the field goes in. And I believe Dustin Dewar, we talked about him earlier as well, who had stretched it out so far. He's going to come in as well, but that was quite the run by him. Last time he was in was lap 28, and seemed like maybe it worked out well for him to maybe change up his strategy a bit.
Yeah, notable drivers that went down pit road. Obviously, Scott Crump, our second place driver, he went down pit road. Maybe decided to get tires. Also, the 38, looks like Shane went down, got some tires. So it's, again, another strategy call here to split the field up. I don't think the drivers that came down now expect to win the stage, because the stage end is going to be pretty much 5 laps. It'd be very difficult for them to gain up that many positions to be able to get the stage win. But maybe they stay out and have the track positions to be up front. As you've seen all night long, back there where the craziness happens is dangerous, to say the least. It's not good health for your vehicle if you stay in the back. It's shown time and time that these trucks, just when they collide, they usually take a few of them with them. So it looks like some of those drivers may be making a decision now to give them the edge when the stage end comes to be in front of a lot of this and go for the win at the end.
Yeah, it's an interesting move to make. I don't know what's more important for these drivers, the stage points to help them with the overall championship, or looking for the overall win here today. I mean, it's Frankenfield, Thornquist out front. I don't know what we're going to see. It's going to be a shootout till the end of the stage, about maybe 4 laps once we go green again. And then who's going to be planning to say, you know what, the stage win, that's cool, the points are great, but I want to be here at the end of the night and win the overall. So going to be a few different strategies paying off here today, and I'm not quite sure what's going to be the winning strategy as far as championships go, because frankly, stage racing is confusing.
Yeah, it definitely opens the book up to a lot of different strategies. I said that Scott Crump wasn't going to win the stage, but a lot more people pitted than I thought. He's only back at 9th. We've seen when Jared Rexing went through the field, and the tire deficit was only 15, 20 laps. They just had a good 30-lap run there. Longest green flag by far of the whole night, and they're going to be quite a bit different in speed. So it depends on, I think, the person who's hoping for no more cautions, at least until the end of the stage, is going to be Scott Crump, because he just might be able to reach Chad. You saw him, he was having a difficult time when the tires were evened up. You know, maybe he's deciding that this is the best way for him to put his truck in front of him, either by passing him with new tires or waiting till the end of the stage and just have Chad forfeit the lead by having to go down pit road to get himself some tires. So we'll see. It's definitely going to be a interesting call to see if that comes out on top at the end of this all.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. It's going to be a final shootout here to the stage. I'm assuming if we have another caution here, that will count as the stage. And so it's going to be Frankenfield and Thornquist out front trying to score some stage points. Behind them, a fleet of angry bumblebees trying to make their way up. A lot of these guys came in on that lap 82, so almost a 40-lap newer tires. Who's going to charge through the field here and risk it all for a stage win? Are we going to see Scott Crump, currently 9th on track, make his way up through this pack? Or are we going to see this stage restart punctuated by once more another caution as the pace car comes in? It's Frankenfield Thornquist on the front row. Frankenfield gets a great launch. And oh, that was not a good start by Thornquist.
Yeah, big back up there with Scott Haney there, stacked up that outside line. Luckily, it looks like they all straightened up, but yeah, we're going to be watching as this is the older set of tires that most of these guys have had for most of the night. So trying to get them up to speed and not slide them around as much as they probably want to is going to be definitely in their best interest as these new guys with or these new tires come through the field.
Yeah, and that's the thing too is, I mean, we haven't really talked about it tonight, but even the restarts get a lot more exciting. It doesn't take much to light up the rear tires of these race trucks, especially when you're 40 laps in on a set. Granted, only about 30 of those were under green, but you have the potential to crash just on the start, just with how worn out the tires are.
Yeah, that's very true. Like I said, the 40 laps, that's quite a bit. I mean, that's about as far as any of these drivers want to put them through. But like I said, they don't have an option with the limited amount of tires. It's not like they can just come down pit road. They've got a strategy set in mind. And as you can see, there's a lot of strategy playing going through the field. So, if you just used up 2 sets, you may not be able to risk it going for another set. So some of these guys are forced to be in this situation that maybe they don't want to be in.
Scott Crump, the number 90 machine, absolutely making moves on this restart. He's almost caught the lead pack. Ethan Burrell right in front of him as they're going to go side by side. That's Burrell, Dura, Thornquist, Frankenfield, but another crash is going to happen. Josh Hodges takes it for a ride. The caution flag does not fly out as Crump is going to charge as hard as he possibly can here, making up a couple more spots possibly before the stage. And I don't think he's going to catch Frankenfield, who is very far out front right now. He's about 1.3 seconds ahead of Crump. But Crump is looking to get around Dura and Thornquist in one solid move. He gets around Zishan. And Crump has taken over the 3rd place spot here on this stage.
Yeah, I think maybe Chad Frankenfield just got just enough gapping where he might be all right. I saw Scott Crump working through the field, and the difference between him and Rexing, as you saw when he went through, he was going 3 wide. He was barreling through it. Scott had a lot more patience. I think he's thinking big run at the end of the night, so he didn't want to put himself in any kind of predicament. But he's going to be right on the back bumper as they come to the end of the stage.
Oh, look at this. Is it going to be a drag race? It's going to be close. No, Frankenfield, I believe, is going to hold on to it. But when do they throw the caution for the stage? Is it after the 10th driver has crossed the line? I think it is.
That is correct. Yeah, it's after the points are already awarded for the stage win when you come across the line. But you can still gain the position. But yeah, when the 10th car comes across the line, that's when they throw the stage in.
So let's see what happened to Trey Holmes. He took for a ride, and the caution didn't come out. The number 88 machine. It shows as a crash and then a quick tow to the pit. So I'm not sure if all the smoke came out of the engine. I think that's what it was. And then he grabs a tow back to pit lane. So not having the night he wanted here tonight either.
No, luckily that didn't throw any caution for us. The caution came from the stage end, luckily. So iRacing didn't count that. It was low enough, and he did a good job just making sure that he was off the racing line when that happened. That's all we hope for some of these drivers. You're going to have nights where you're not going to be happy about it, but as long as you don't put anyone else's race, off or delayed for your bad luck is going to be the best. But Chad's going to be coming down pit road now. He's going to get his set, so we're going to be seeing a switcheroo of different strategies again as those that stayed out are going to go in, and those that had went in before are going to stay out.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting, especially with the cautions we've seen here tonight, not even including the stage cautions, and how that's going to really affect things throughout the run. and who's going to be able to maybe score a last-ditch caution and still have some tires in reserve. I think that could really be the make or break it for several of these drivers if they do have that extra set and we see another caution with maybe 30, 20 laps left to go. If your drivers around you have not saved any tires, you can look at a great opportunity to really slice through the field. As we've seen Rexing, we've seen Crump able to make quick work of the guys on older tires. That could be very beneficial to the guys later on the run if they keep any laying around back in pit road.
Yeah, I mean, one driver you stated was Dirt. I mean, he's up to, I believe, 13th, I believe, or he might have actually gotten more position there. He's one of those drivers, like you stated, that have been saving tires. So who else maybe that we haven't noticed that have been saving tires? You know, again, these tires have been the key to making these quick passes. Anyone else on the same tire strategy, once it straightens out and evens out, it's almost like a waiting game until someone messes up. So the tires have been the main factor in all these passes for the lead. So, yeah, who's saved it and who's used it and who's played the right call, it's all going to be determined at the end of this.
Yeah, this is going to be quite the exciting. It's going to be about really less than 50 laps here for the stage. And no, it's about 50 laps once we get the final restart. So that's going to be interesting. Just the tail end of a fuel run. So we know Crump, Adams, Terrian, Rexing, all those guys that came in a lap 82 are going to have to pit at least once more just for fuel, barring a series of cautions that allows them to fuel save. So at what point, if they have tires left in reserve, are they going to decide to take them? I would imagine if it's less than 30 laps to go and we do have a caution and they have the tires, you can expect to see our guys take 4 fresh Goodyears before they go back out. But this is going to be interesting to see tonight.
Yeah, one driver that has just been stalking it and just kind of still got a beautifully clean truck is going to be that Flat Out Racing Network driver. It's going to be the number 38. He is right there in 3rd place, and he's got no marks on it. He's got nothing. He's just been saving his stuff. He hasn't been, he's not been the high riser. He's not been the one risking it, going 3 wide. He's just been saving it for the end here. And he's got himself in 3rd place right now. Is he going to start going? Are some of these other guys that maybe have been waiting, are they going to start going? Another driver that's up there that I thought he would is Jared Rexing. He's back up there. He's right back up behind the 38. Again, all these tire strategies of going in, people pitting, is bringing people back up to the front that maybe have been waiting in the back, and maybe they were just waiting for this time to shine, to finally start making the moves that they need to. Maybe they waited long enough to make sure that they, if it's time to go, it's time to go now. So we'll like I said, we got a lot of very fast drivers up front. Now we got a lot of very fast drivers in the back that are now going to have to try to get through them all.
Yeah, Shane Terrian, the number 38 driver, he has proven last week at Daytona that he has the consistency, finishing 4th after starting 33rd. He only had 1 incident the entire race, so good to see him back out here again and putting on a great show as we get ready to send him out once more as they continue their eye-pacing down the backstretch. It's going to be Crump and Adams, your front row, Rexing, Terrian, your 2nd row, and then Player and Ryan, our 3rd row. A lot of guys were kind of used to calling up front, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens and who's able to bring it home at the end, as a lot of these drivers already have quite the racing stripes on their machines. But pace car is in, and here we go. Scott Crump with a pretty solid launch. Jacob Adams, he's right in front of Terry and the number 38 driver.
Oh, we already got a spin. Oh, car coming. Oh, my goodness. That was car hit the end of pit road wall. And
I think he flipped into the pits, didn't he?
It did some janky stuff there.
It's Nicholas Darter, the number 48 machine. Gets bumped by the 15, gets bumped again, and then gets hooked. ARCA brakes in full effect, and oh! Now I understand. He gets slingshotted back into pit lane.
We got us pile up in the back stretches. It looks like Chad Frankenfield involved in another wreck here.
Everybody's crashing here at Darlington. Frankenfield, Dewar, Zishan, Haney. Well, this is a night. Let's take a look at Frankenfield's crash, number 15 machine, see what happens here. He gets loose all on his own and then slides around into traffic and just gets absolutely drilled, punted. Everyone's ARCA braking, no one's on the brakes, and everybody's just slamming into each other. the crash that just keeps on giving. That was man, this is a rough night for a lot of guys.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that was a lot of the guys that had just came down pit road and got tires. And like I said, that was going to be what you were going to be concerned with if you were going to come down pit road and take those tires, is you're going to put yourself right in the thick of things. And unfortunately, that looks like it took out a lot of those strong runners that were up front just prior to this caution.
Yeah, that was Scott Haney also involved in that, so that's going to shake things up just a little bit. Now, it's still Crump, Adams, Rexing, Terrian, and Player, and Ryan, our top 6 drivers, but that absolutely collected a lot of race car drivers. As we see, I believe we've got Dewar, Key, Darter, Frankenfield all in pit lane from that last crash. And I'd be very surprised if any of them make it back out on track after that one.
Yeah, that I think Frankenfield might be done for the night. Durr, who seemed to have like a strategy that we were going to keep an eye on with tires, he's absolutely going to be out for the night. He was about in the driver's seat of the 15, and on that wreck, he buried into the back of him. So, yeah, like I said, just cutting the field down more for this end of the stage. This caution is definitely going to play into the effect if someone's going to try to maybe stay out during the whole run, or if we have no more cautions, it's going to be very interesting now, because we were already on the cusp of making it to the end, and maybe this might be playing into the field of someone that's very good at fuel saving and conservating.
Yeah, keep an eye on Crump, the number 90 machine. I'm almost positive I broadcast on one of the Elite Racing League's race. I can't remember if it was the Xfinity cars or here in the trucks, but it was a Darlington round where Crump had to coast across the start-finish line, running out of gas, coming out of turn 4. So the guy knows how to fuel save. Maybe he's worked on it a little bit more since then, so he doesn't have to risk it quite as close. But, man, you're right. It's going to really play into the guys. As I believe pretty much everybody inside the top 10, save Chad Thornquist and maybe Josh Adams. Those 2 drivers came in a lap 92. Everybody else in the top 10 has not come in since lap 82. So if they can get a couple more cautions underneath their belt, that means they can save it on fuel. But who's going to be able to take advantage of a late caution? As I'm going to go on a limb here and say we're going to have 2 or 3 more cautions before the end. Throw on that set of tires they've been saving and kind of send it there and hope they get through traffic like Jared Rexing and Scott Crump were able to do earlier.
Yeah, if cautions come into the count of things, you can not worry about fuel strategy or anything, because it's going to be everyone's going to just fill up when they come down for tires. So, yeah, this only plays into the effect if we go green from here. That's a big if. We've got 47 laps to finish things out here, and we just haven't seen a drive that long. So if we do somehow miraculously have a green flag run that long, I don't think it's going to be any of these drivers that stayed out on that last caution. It's going to be someone that pitted in earlier. Again, these drivers like Scott Crump and the 25 Adams and the 10, they all pitted, I believe, like 6 or 7 laps before the end of the stage. So I think that just might be too far out of the run of things. But I'm kind of like them. I don't really believe cautions are done for the night. I think we still got a few more pile-ups to do before this one rounds out.
Yeah, I'm 100% agreeing with you, man. I don't think we're going to see a green flag run because, I mean, historically we haven't seen one so far here tonight. So it's going to be interesting to see who's able to, kind of focus on these short runs and their strategy the best. It's going to be interesting as Adams and Crump are again on the front row. Now, these guys have been getting great practice on restarts all night long, have really gotten to practice their starts, especially up front. Now it's going to be interesting. Do we see Adams maybe pick up on what Crump is doing a little bit more? As Crump has been kind of going away unchecked on these starts and allowing himself some clean track in front of him. I'm not sure what we're going to see.
It's so hard to get that bottom to go. Again, racing line where all the grip is at, where everyone's been racing at, it's right where he's at. He picked the outside line for a reason, and that's just where all the speed's at. So he's going to have, the preferred line, and he gets these jumps, especially coming out of these turns. Right now is when he's going to start going. Well, he's holding off a little bit. There he goes. Yeah, usually the green flag is in the middle of the turn, so that bottom line has a very difficult position when these green flags are waved.
Yeah, we can see that Jacob Adams, the number 25 machine, does not get the launch he wants. That's allowing Shane Tarian to make his way around on the high line. The number 38 machine taking over that second place spot. So you've got Crump out front, Tarian second, Adams third. Rexing is working his way back up to fourth, and Sean Ryan rounds out our top five. But Sean Ryan has company as Chad Thornquist tries to make a move on the inside line, trying to squeeze the number 9. The number 9 takes a shot back, and that's going to force Thornquist back another spot. As now here comes Josh Adams on the outside line in the number 35 machine. Excuse me, 95 machine.
If you're going to make the move on a driver, you're hoping to clear him, because if not, it's going to be a freight train on the top side. So you see the 92 of Thornquist. He just did not have the preferred position, and the 95 was able to capitalize there.
Jared Rexing trying to make his way up into third place. He goes side by side with Jacob Adams, drops back in tow, but now Sean Ryan in the number 9 machine, he's going to take a peek to the inside line, see if he can make something stick on Rexing. Now that inside line late in the run, we've touched on it all night, very hard to keep any momentum going as you want to drift to the racetrack. I believe that was Sean Ryan, takes a hit from the number 95, Josh Adams. And these guys are really battling hard in that top 5 spot. It's Joshua Adams, Sean Ryan going side by side. No, it's Sean Ryan and Chad Thornquist putting on a show. The battle for 7th and 6th as these guys are still side by side trying to make something happen. It looks like Thornquist is going to have it in the number 92 machine. Almost impossible to see his all-black number, so we apologize if we get it wrong every now and then. So now Thornquist is going to move back into 6th. Chasing Josh Adams. Adams in 5th place on track. He is up 32 spots here today.
If we have a look up front, I think we're going to see what I was alluding to. It looks like Shane Thurian is he's caught up to Scott Crump. He is on his back bumper, and I think he's decided the time to go was now. So he is looking pretty stout, faster than he has all night, and I think that was to his strategy, to be fair.
Now, Gerald, with the amount of cautions we've had tonight, do you think it's going to be beneficial for Shane to try and stay in 2nd place, or does he want to get up front as quickly as he can? That way he can control the restart and where he's going to be and try and keep that drive. We've seen it work well for Crump all night as he has a big blink. So, I mean, what's the most important thing going through Tarian's head right now? What do you think?
If you can lead, you can set the pace. You can decide on when to go for the restarts. It just makes things easier. You know that you're not going to have on anyone to the inside or outside of you when you go into turn 1 on the restart. So if he can get him now, get him now. But if it's looking like Scott is going to hold him up and just kind of run it at a pace that he just can't get around him easily, he may end up deciding to wait. Ooh, he got a little sideways there and puff of smoke. So it looks like deciding to wait was not on the cards right now. He's definitely putting it sideways. So I think he's deciding that it's time to go now. Maybe he just really wants to be up front now.
Well, that and Crump's been having those big blinks there as he's gone for several seconds going into turn 1. Disappears again. The worst thing that could happen is he appears. Tarian having to check up and take an alternative line. Crump is all over the racetrack, blinking horrifically. He's gone for several seconds. It is almost impossible to race around someone like that. What is Shane going to do? Is he can't make a move on Crump number 90 machine without, he doesn't know where Crump's going to be. So this is one of those scary situations for Tarian. He has the pace, we think, to get by the race leader, and they've extended their gap to about 1.7 seconds over Josh Adams, the 3rd place driver in the number 95 machine. As it looks like Crump may have fixed the internet connection just for a little while here, but that's tough to make a move when you don't know where your competitor is going to be.
Yeah, that's a tough that's a tough match to battle someone that you don't see. It's battling ghosts essentially that can still hit you. So yeah, he's going to have to be careful, but they can't be too careful because that 95 is absolutely flying right now. He's definitely got faster pace than the 2 in front. Unfortunately for the 38, he doesn't have much of an option. It's either, battle with someone you don't see that's off and on. Right now it looks like to be stable. Maybe he'll try to get back up and try to get around him. Or just wait up for the 95 to catch him and then make it a 3-horse run to the end.
Yeah, and that's, again, these guys have not pitted since lap 82. Crump and Terry. Now Josh Adams, Chad Thornquist, not Jared Rexing, and then Ethan Burrell all came in between lap 92 and 98, so they do have about 10 laps fresher tires. I'm assuming that's got to be their last set or close to their last set. I do wonder if Crump and Terrian kept anything in reserve in case we get a final caution. We've got 35 laps left to go, so if we do get a caution, I'm going to be very intrigued to see if these drivers decide to take a final set of tires or a splash of fuel if they're going to try and make it all the way to the end. I mean, on paper, they are going to be about 15 laps short on fuel, not counting caution, so I'm not sure what's going to happen here, Gerald.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, the next set of tires will be their final set, so, deciding on when to take them is going to be pretty important. Some of them may decide that they're going to take it, and we've seen runs of 10, 15 laps be enough for a driver to go from 15th to 1st. So when you take them, when to predict when the cautions are going to come out, it's going to be difficult. Right now, everything is pretty spread out, more spread out than we've seen all night. So who knows when the next caution comes out, or if it even does come out. That's another thing that some of these guys are going to have to play into effect. Is as the run goes on, the more you start to worry about what's going to be next.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Crump's still doing a great job out front. He's starting to catch some lap traffic and cut his way through. And that is going to really play to the advantage of, I think, Terrian, because now the field knows that, hey, there's lap traffic coming through as Crump makes his way by. That, in theory, should make it easier for Terrian and number 38 machine to cut through because lap traffic's already aware of what's going on. Now, these drivers will try and call out, maybe communicate with different crew chiefs that, hey, we're coming through and make way. But for the most part, it seems like it's been fairly easy for our leaders to make their way through traffic, really not having any close calls with the guys, and so far, so clean.
Yeah, Shane has definitely got a different line going in turns 3 and 4. I think that's where a lot of his speed, he gets right up on the wall in 1 and 2, which gives him a lot of run down the back straightaway. But he has almost a lower line, almost like a diamond effect. He gets it very sideways. He goes in lower and then kind of diamonds it, gets it sideways, and then shoots back down to the bottom. It seems to be the faster way around, but it's nothing he can do with the 90. Again, same tires on both of them, so it's just one of those things. This track has a one-groove racetrack, and it's going to be difficult for him to any moves he makes. It's going to be hard for him to complete.
Yeah, and both these drivers, like you touched on, Gerald, both in the same tire strategy. They've still got about a 2-second gap to Josh Adams, who has 10-lap newer tires. So whatever Crump and Terrian are doing out front, running first and second, seems to be working well for our two drivers, not having any big issues. As it looks like now, Crump able to get a bit of a breathing room, about 0.4 seconds over Terrian. And I don't know, we may see a breakaway from Crump and the number 90 machine, able to keep those tires underneath them. You touched on it that Shane was doing more of a little bit of sliding around and maybe trying to carry some more speed by hucking it in there. Now, you and I both know that does not save tires as well. But, again, I don't know who's going to have the most tires at the end of this run, or if and when we're going to have to see these guys start fuel saving to try and make it to the end.
I think he's used up what he's got. Scott is starting to pull away 10th by 10th each lap. So he just has a line that he doesn't have to worry about anyone in front of him. So it's a little bit easier for him to run a line that he wants to. So 38's been trying to run a line that maybe the 90 isn't, just to try to get one up on him and trying to find a way around him. Scott really hasn't had to worry about that. He hasn't, other than a few lap cars, but they've been getting out of the way. He hasn't had to run any line other than his own. So, yeah, I think the 90's just gotten one up on him on tires right now. I think 38's kind of made his right rear a little bit mad.
Yeah, he's starting to fall off the pace a little bit. We're going to cycle back just a little bit further in the field. We've still got Josh Adams. He's about half a second ahead of Chad Thornquist. Both of these guys came in on lap 92. We've got about 27 laps remaining here at Darlington. So I think pretty much everybody's going to be able to make it on fuel. It's going to be tight, I think, for the lead two cars that have come in on lap 82. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to stretch it out to the end, but they still have enough room out front to save a little bit and make it last. Again, this is going to be a tough race to predict because it's Josh Adams, Chad Thornquist, Ethan Burrell running together 3rd through 5th. About 3 truck lengths separating all these drivers right now. And I think we're at the point in the stage where the tires are just so worn down, it's almost impossible for anybody to really do anything with it at this point.
Yeah, again, they're all really spaced out. We've got, now it's coming down to essentially 25 laps. Now the question does come. Is a caution actually coming out? We were predicting, we would have both bet money on caution coming out for sure. There's no way that they can't have a caution coming out here at Darlington. We've seen close to 8 or 9 cautions so far tonight, but here we are, 25 laps left. A lot of these guys up front can't make it on fuel.
It is a Christmas miracle if we're going to make it out all the way out to the end.
Well, it's not a miracle for some of those guys that have been, banking on a caution to stack them up and to get some fuel later on in the run. But, again, it's one of those things you never know in racing. Right now, clean and clear.
Yeah, I'm just clicking off laps, making it look easy. We've got about 25 laps left to go in tonight's race. And this is going to be tough to see what happens as people, or who's going to be able to stretch out on fuel. 24 laps left to go. I don't know, my friend. This is something.
Yeah. Well, one thing that is pretty easy to see though, Scott's gone. Scott's decided that he's banking on a caution. There's no lifting. There's no saving of tires. There's no saving of fuel. I think he's gone. He's just decided that.
Yeah, you done jinxed it, Gerald. The commentator's curse strikes once more.
Yep. Well, never mind. Caution's out. We're gonna stack it up and we're gonna have a run. If I had to predict, I think just about everyone's gonna come down. It's only gonna be about 20 laps left of green. Flag racing. I don't see anyone really risking it and deciding on pitting later on. So I think we're probably gonna see the entire field come down pit road here.
What a night! As sure as the sun will rise tomorrow, a caution at Darlington here for the Tilson 200. And like Gerald just said, it's going to be 20 laps left to go. We're waiting to see. I believe we're going to see everybody come into pit lane for, I'm assuming, the final time. And yes, they are. Crump, Terry, and Adams, everybody. It's a pit party here at Darlington. And we're all going to bring them in and get 4 fresh Goodyears and just enough gas to make it to the end and possibly account for a green-white checkered, as Crump is going to have to go very far down the racetrack to get to his pit stall. Because I don't think we have anybody on the lead lap staying out here.
No, that's what I'm checking now. I haven't noticed anybody as of yet. Yeah, it doesn't look like anyone back there has decided to stay out. I think most of those guys are lap down cars that are going to be coming down the next time by. Yeah, it was about what I predicted. I've been good at predicting some things tonight. I thought most people would come down pit road now. 20 laps isn't really enough of a strategy to put them on later on. It's going to be go time now. So who has what? We're about to see.
Yeah, Crump, pretty much the positions are going to stay the same coming out off of pit row. It's Crump, Terry, and Thornquist, Adams, Burrell, our top 5. And we are about to see a shootout. Now, the question here is, Gerald, are we going to see one more caution?
Yeah, I believe we. If there was any chance of no cautions coming out, it was when they were all separated from about a second from each other, and that didn't happen. We're stacking them all up together now and telling them there's no more strategy involved. Just go. That's always going to cause people to drive a little harder than they have all night. Whenever there's nothing else for you to do in the pits, there's nothing else to do strategy-wise to get you up front, other than pushing that gas pedal down and not slowing down for anything. I think that's gonna that there is gonna be the call for everybody. Is just gonna be, unfortunately, stack up somewhere along the line.
Now, my final question for you is before we as we get ready for this restart. Now we've seen things rapidly change. We've seen the long run drivers such as Crump really show their stuff. Do you think you have a new favorite choice to win this for a final 20-lap shootout here today? Is it going to be somebody that we weren't expecting? I don't see Rexing. Rexing's currently 6th on track. That's a driver to keep an eye out for. We've seen Scott Crump, Shane Terry, and put down hot laps. I don't know what's going to happen here, but do you have an odds-on favorite you think might bring it home here?
I would say Scott Crump, just for the mere fact that we've seen same tires from the field. You just can't pass the leader when he's got the preferred line. But Scott Crump and Elite just don't go well with each other. And in many of the leagues or many of the races that he's been running in Elite, his luck has not been great. He's been running well in most races that he's competed with Elite, but the finishes don't reflect that. Just for the mere fact, something ends up happening very late in the run, and this is looking like one of those runs that looks like everything's going just the way he wanted to, but we're not done yet. You're going to see, obviously, desperation, especially when you're trying to pass a guy, and it's a one-groove racetrack. I don't think the 38 is going to push it too far. He's a very clean driver from what I've seen him do before, but I don't see another way of being able to get around a guy that's leading the field without pushing the issue somewhere.
I agree with you on every account there. I'm keeping an eye on Jared Rex in the number 10 machine to see what he's going to do. I don't know Jared very well. I haven't called many races he's been in, but from seeing the 2 and 3 wide passes he's pulled earlier, I'm going to keep an eye on the number 10 and see if maybe that bumper comes into play in the closing laps. It's going to be 19 to go as the pace car is in. Scott Crump, your race leader, is going to get a great launch over Shane Terrian and the number 38 machine. And away goes Crump. Crump has internet problems again, though, as it seems like it's really rearing its head on these restarts. Chad Thornquist tries to send it in. He gets edged around by the number 19, Thornquist. Oh, a huge hit. Thornquist hard into everybody. And, well, we were right about the caution.
Yeah. Again, it looks like another driver just went maybe just a tad too low, got the flat part of the racetrack, and around it goes. That white line, it's not like Daytona. It's not like you can't go down there, but that white line definitely warns you not to go down there.
Yeah, Thornquist gets a little bit wiggly, and then he gets tagged by the number 19 machine, and then Calamity here at Darlington. And then we're watching the slow motion replay sponsored by Tilson. Number 68 machine nowhere to go, and then collecting in the number 3 as well. As Thornquist, number 92 with the all-black numbers, is making the highlight reel not how we wanted here today. And unfortunately, that's going to end several more racers' night late in the run. And just that's a lot of work to be putting it back in the hauler with 18 laps left to go.
Yeah, it looks like he got involved with Scott Haney. He was one of those drivers for Do Good that was doing the Days of Thunder. He was doing the Robbie Burns. So Robbie Burns was leading in the Do Goods category. I don't even know if any of Do Good's drivers are still out there, to be honest with you. So I don't know if he won by default or not. But yeah, that was probably the worst place you can get turned at, is going right into 1 and 2 there and coming back up the racetrack, because there's just not a lot of ways to avoid it. It looks like a big track. Look how big that is. It looks like you can fit like 20 cars down there, but that track is super flat, and then it goes to maybe a 2-car, 3-car wide banking. And to go from that banking down to that flat track, it's like fighting an imaginary wave. You try to push your way down, and it'll push you right back up into it. So unfortunately, that's where his car went, and that's where a lot of cars had, unfortunately, nowhere to go.
Yeah, gonna have to put it back in the hauler at the tail end of the night, working so hard to get 130 laps under your belt before you have to return back to the hauler, and possibly a disappointed crew chief. I believe it's going to be 15 drivers still on the lead lap. We started with 43 drivers, and it is down to 15 on the lead lap, with about 5 drivers, I'd say, with a great chance of winning it. But we've seen a lot of cautions here today, and I mean, it's going to be about, I think, 15 laps to go once they take the green for the next time by. And there's some guys that may be currently 10th on track that still have a chance of winning this. Counting stages, this is the 11th caution we've had here today.
Yeah, it felt like it. It definitely feels like 13, 12 cautions. I don't think we're done still. Like I said, it's time to go now. You just saw right there, no one's lifting. Even if your car is sideways, even if the car in front of you is sideways, not a lot of people are going to be lifting for this. This is time that you're going to be able to make some positions if someone loses it, because it is such a hard track to pass at. So you're going to try to capitalize on anybody's mistakes. Who's to know when that mistake is just getting sideways or if that mistake is spinning? So it's hard to make those decisions on these very quick moments of actions.
Yeah, I mean, it's time for these competitors to lick the stamp and absolutely send it. Crump still looking at a great chance to maybe hold it off, as Shane Terrian had great pace on that restart, but Crump just has such a big advantage with that lane selection on the restart, allowing to put a little bit of space between himself and Terrian, the number 38 driver, and just a little bit of chance to breathe as we get ready to stack him up, double file once more. And I don't know what's going to happen. I do think we're going to have one more caution. It's going to be 14 laps to go as they take the restart. Crump and Terrian, your first row. Adams and Burrell, your second row. Rexing and Martinez, your third row. I think really anybody inside the top 10, maybe we'll say the top 6, I think still has a good chance of winning it here today.
Yeah, it just depends on how well they work with each other. It may go farther back than that, even if drivers decide to push it farther. But one thing that we're seeing here that's been different from every other restart, the 90's on the bottom. I'm not sure if he's worked out a deal with the 38, or he's decided that he's such a clean driver that that's who he decides who he wants to be behind him. But he's decided to go to the bottom for this restart.
Yeah, that's something we haven't seen all night, so I'm not sure what Crump is thinking. Maybe it's because of again, he's still having connectivity issues. It seems every time we get all these trucks stacked up together, we get a big blink from the number 90, Scott Crump. But he just barely stacks the field, and away we go. He may be trying to put some drivers between himself and Terrian, as the number 95, Josh Adams, trying to charge up the inside line. He's accompanied by Jared Rexon on the inside line as well, seeing if they can pogo their way up towards the front. But Scott Crump, he's got about a half-second advantage over Terrian in second place. Right behind Terrian, you've got Adams, Burrell, Rexon, all trying to squeeze their way up here. 14 laps left to go. And right now, Crump has just a tiny bit of breathing room to make it to the end. This is some racing. Look at this. We got some more movement. I believe that's Burrell trying to make a it was Burrell trying to make a move on Josh Adams' number 95 machine. Not quite able to make it stick. I think everybody in the top 5 trying to see where they're going to squeeze through at.
Yeah, tire saving is not in the mind anymore. It's going hard. That's what they're all doing. So you're seeing right now full pace from every driver that's up there. It's 38 is slowly catching them. We've seen that before in the past. 38 may be able to catch them, but passing them has been very, very different story. As that's going to be the key, is how can he make that bottom groove work.
12 laps left to go. Terrian's got it down to a tenth of a second between himself and the race leader, Scott Crump. He looks to the inside at the backstretch, and he's going to send it in turn 3. We know that outside line seems to be one of the faster sections of racetrack, as Crump able to carry just a little bit more speed. Terrian slides back up right behind Crump. Now that last time by, Terrian put down the fastest lap of the race with a 29.58 compared to the 29.75 that Crump has been able to put down. It is now 0.2 of a second. I'm not sure if we're going to see Terrian able to make that inside line work, as he has fallen back to about 0.3 of a gap. So every time he takes that maybe a bit of a feint and a jab at Crump, it costs him about a lap to try and work his way back up. Right behind him, it's Adams, Burrell, Rexing, all battling for that podium spot. Each of those guys trying to get in that third place spot so they can get to the podium interview after tonight's race. But Crump seems to have found some speed here and is making it work well for him.
Yeah, he's got that outside lane running. He's been running that all night, and obviously to great effect. He's got a completely clean truck on the side, so obviously he feels very comfortable up there. Again, where 38's going to have to be able to do it is he's got to get on his back bumper and try to be able to get a run coming out of a turn, and then try to drag race him down the straightaway, because just looking and going underneath them down and going into the turn is just not working. The 90's got that outside lane running so well where he doesn't he's not worried about anyone underneath him.
Now Terrian, we really touched on this earlier. He was diamonding the corners, I believe it was through 3 and 4, and able to pick up some speed. And just that last time by, he was just a smidgen faster than Crump. We know that didn't work out well for him in the long run, but now he's in prime time opportunity to make that short run strategy really work, as he is all over the bumper of Scott Crump's number 90 machine. Are we going to see the bumper come into play from the number 38, or is he going to try and run it clean all the way around the racetrack as he is glued to the back of Crump down the backstretch? Are we going to see a move from the 38? He does not seem to have that great of a run as they go side by side through turn 3, but look at that. Crump just pulls away once more coming out of the corner. And Crump's going to have it again by about a truck length. Terrian not able to make it stick coming out of turn 4, and that seems to be the story all night, just not having the drive out of the corners that he wants, and Crump just carrying so much speed along that outside line here today.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely, the 38's got the speed in 1 and 2. He's got to be able to figure out some way of being able to push him up higher into the turns. Make him lift, make him do something different than he's been doing, because it's just not working. And every lap that he tries something and fails, the harder it is the next time he decides to do it, because the more he's burned up his tires. So if he's going to make a decision on how to get around him, he's got to do it now. We can't wait. He's got to do it now. He's going to probably look again under the backside of him, or he may just decide to stay behind him and do as I say and try to make a move coming out of the turn versus going in.
And Crump is a very smart and talented race truck driver. He's also watching what Terrian's doing and saying, making a couple notes going, all right, Terrian's got the drive into 3. I've got the drive out of 4. How do I make sure he doesn't adjust? And playing a little bit of mind games, trying to put his truck where he thinks Terrian's going to be in the closing laps. It's 5 laps left to go here at Darlington, and you can throw a towel over your front 2 drivers. It's Scott Crump, Shane Terrian, put on an absolute show for our fans at home, and looking like it's going to be a drag race all the way down the finish. Each guy trying to make a little bit more speed over their competitors, and again, it looks like Crump has got the speed, and Terrian, we know he's been a short-run driver, but is he using up too much tire here and kind of playing into Crump's game? Is Crump still holding about a 2/10 of advantage all the way around this racetrack with 4 laps to go? I don't know if Terrian's going to be able to make anything happen without using that front bumper.
Yeah, that's going to be the deciding factor, because it looks like the 90 is starting to pull away just a little bit here. So that's about the only thing I can think of. I think he's run out of options or tires at the same time on trying to make any other way of getting around him. So now the case is he going to be able to get close enough to be able to use said bumper?
Yeah, I don't know at this point, because you've also got Ethan Burrell. He's caught up a little bit. He's about a half-second back from Shane Terrian. Now Burrell is comfortably in podium contention with 3 laps left to go. I don't think we're going to see him try and make a move for second, but you know how it is. Racers race. It's 2 laps left to go. Right now, Terrian is about half a second back from Crump and about a half-second ahead of Burrell. I think this may be the finishing order here today, as tire wear is kind of plateaued and guys aren't able to make any more big moves. I know Burrell wants to try and get up there to catch Terrian, but I don't think he's going to have the tire wear either to make something happen.
No, as we're coming to take the white flag, I think Scott Crump has finally been able to shake some kind of monkey off his back, because, again, as I stated, his luck in the Elite has been awful. But tonight, he has been on rails, he has been fast, he has not made a wrong step, even with having to come through the pack multiple times with tire strategy. He's come out of it looking clean and gained a ton of points in the making. And tonight, he's done a fantastic job as it comes around turn 4.
Yeah, he's going to come around turn 4 for the final time. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Scott Crump is going to win round 2 here at Darlington, followed by Shane Terrian and Ethan Burrell to round out our top 3. What a great race. We had a whole lot of cautions, but when these guys were able to go green, they put on quite the show for us here today, and that was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely was green mainly for the end of it, and that's what we're thankful for. Is it allowed us to see some driver on driver action there. Nothing bizarre, nothing crazy, just good hard racing and people going as hard as they could, all on the same tire strategy. So there was no determining factor other than just pure pace and speed.
We're going to try and get our drivers up here into the waiting room for their post-race interviews as Scott Crump is going to take his victory lap for the Tilson 200, and he's going to burn it down. A well-deserved win, finally on the top spot of the box, and man, a great strategy all around, and he's going to send it sliding here at Darlington and put on a final smoke show for our fans after a great performance here today. And man, a well-deserved win for Crump.
Yeah, it's nice to see a winner and a person participating in the paint scheme challenge with his Kenny Irwin paint scheme. So just a good overall victory and win. Definitely someone that earned it. Someone that was up front for pretty much the entire extent of this race. And there was a lot of craziness. There was a lot of wrecking. There was a lot of things that we predicted would happen at Darlington, and luckily Scott Crump was able to overcome all that and just make sure that he was clean and green and up on the front, and he came away with a win, and he's burning off whatever left of his tires he had left.
Yeah, putting on a fantastic smoke show here at Darlington. We've got Shane Terrian waiting by. We're trying to get Ethan Burrell and Scott Crump up in the booth as well. But, man, what a great race here today. I mean, I definitely didn't expect that many cautions even for Darlington. But on the other hand, I didn't expect that great of racing as well from all of our competitors. So well done to everybody involved. And that was a pretty good showing, I think, here today.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot of fun being up here to watch all that. Again, Darlington, we knew the tires were going to be something to talk about just for the mere fact that this is Darlington, old surface. But what we didn't know was just those cautions playing into the effect and how many strategies were going on. There was as many strategies as there was throwback paint schemes. It was crazy to see all the different ideas people had coming up to get up to the front, and some worked, some did not, and whatever Scott Crump decided on was obviously the one to put him right where he needed to be.
Yeah, I mean, well deserved for all of our competitors here today. We're trying to do last call for some of our drivers to get them up here in the waiting room for us for their post-race interviews. As we've gotten Scott Crump and Shane Therian. I don't believe Ethan Burrell is going to be making it here into the booth with us. So we're going to get this party started with Shane Terrian. Shane, great job out there today, man. You had your fans tuning in tonight and let me know the right way to say your name, but at the end of the day, you put on quite the show here today. You got to be proud.
Yeah, I wish I qualified better. Track position is huge here, but I'll take a second. I'm happy with that, I guess.
Now, Shane, it seems like you had the short run dialed in. Did you kind of wish you had more long run speed, or were you just happy to be running up there so clean all night long? And kind of what was the strategy going into tonight?
Well, I could have had long run speed, but I didn't even think about it because I figured we'd have cautions every 20 laps. So, but yeah, my short run speed was good. It's just too hard to pass when someone's equal to you or just a tad slower. It's just too hard to pass. So I didn't want to hit Scott. I mean, later in the season, maybe I would have thought about it, but it's too early for that. So I mean, yeah, I kind of wish we had longer runs because I'm good at saving ties here, but I just mentally did not think we were going to.
Well, Shane, we saw at Daytona that the FRN group, you guys had dominant run there at the end of the race and was able to have a good team victory. Looks like most of your teammates there got involved in one wreck or another back there, but obviously good run for you for the points. With I believe you finished 4th last week, and now you finished 2nd here. Are you just looking in this race, just thinking I just have to have a clean run with obviously only 8 races left, or 8 races in the entire regular season? Obviously not a lot of room for mistakes. Are you looking at just trying to put down just consistent runnings, consistent finishes here, or are you looking at just trying to get a win at some point in the time and not have to worry about any of it?
Well, my mentality is consistency. I mean, I know you've raced with me, Gerald, but consistency is my biggest thing. I mean, if I have the truck to win or the car to win, I'm gonna do my best to win. But I consistently want to finish at least top 5, top 10. So, but usually playoffs is where I turn it up a notch. But yeah, regular seasons mostly I focus on consistency. The wins will come if they come. But yeah, consistent good runs is what I look forward to.
Well, Shane, great job out there, my friend, tonight. You put on a dominant performance. Before I let you sign off, who would you like to give thanks to behind the scenes that may be helping that make that number 38 machine so fast each and every week?
Yeah, I'm gonna thank FRN. They're sponsoring me this season, and then of course I got Evil Controllers back just for this race. because it was a throwback. So unfortunately, I'm not running them anymore. But this was a one-off with them again. So hopefully, kind of wish I really got Victory Lane, but I didn't. But thank you guys for broadcasting, and thanks for Elite for having me. It's been fun.
Always a pleasure, man. Hoping to see you do well in the future and have you back up here in the booth with us.
Thank you.
That was second place Shane Terry, number 38 machine. Up next, we got the man of the hour, Scott Crump, in the number 90. Scott, great job as always, man. It seems like you're maybe some of your bad luck here at Darlington finally went the other way.
Oh yeah, out of 4 races here and out of the lead, I've won 3 of them, so I love this place.
Well, Scott, we've obviously seen seen you up front here at Darlington, but I mean, I've been racing with you here in the last few races in Elite. Last minute luck, just going wrong direction for you. Tonight, it went all your direction from the very beginning to the end. Clean truck all the way to the running. I mean, did you have a clear cut strategy, or was it just kind of just play into the to the cautions as to when to pit, when not to pit, and obviously we saw new tires being the key factor into it all. So was there a key strategy to be up there at the front near the end?
Well, it's hard to strategize when you don't know when the caution's going to come out, and I don't know. You just kind of gotta guess and pick out the right strategy. I was lucky enough to pit and come back through the traffic without any issues, and just took my time and was able to save tires.
Now, Scott, with those, you don't want to call them long green flag runs, but longer green flag runs, it seemed you had the speed there towards the end of the tire life. What were you doing to try and conserve those tires here at Darlington and keep that average pace up throughout your race runs here today?
I was just trying to get in the corners nice and clean and not slide the tires and stay away from that wall. Yeah, it was a rocket ship after about 10, 15 laps. Shane had me on a short run, but just glad we can hold him off there and get this truck in victory lane.
Alrighty, well, again, congratulations, fantastic run there. It was interesting to watch you play the strategy and come up through the field when you had to, and run the top line and hold them off when you needed it at the end. So, is there anyone you want to thank? Anyone you want to do some shout outs? Never know when you get these victories, and with with Elite here, you definitely earned this one. So, if you got any shout outs, go ahead and do them for us.
Yeah, it's definitely been a minute. I'd like to give a shout out to it's my second race with White Lightning Racing, and it's their first win. So, I'd like to be the first one, get their win for them. So I'm excited about that. Also to my sponsor, Stay Tuned Sports Podcast, and also like to thank y'all, and also Shane for running me clean there at the end. He probably could have doored me or put a bumper to me, but he ran me clean. I appreciate that.
Well, Scott, always a great job as always, man. Hope to see you up here in Victory Lane more often, and just all around a great time talking to you. Well done tonight.
All right, thank you.
And Gerald, that is going to do it, my friend, for the Tilson 200. We saw a lot of cautions punctuated by some great racing. I mean, is that how you thought tonight was going to go, or what was your final expectations coming into tonight?
Well, we came home with 16 cars on the lead lap, so we're gonna take that and be happy with what we got is the main thing. So came in with 43 drivers, 16 come out, still running at the end of it. So it is what it is at Darlington, and when it's a one groove racetrack and these trucks are so difficult to pass. So was it what we expected? You never know what to expect. That's the thing with Elite and iRacing and any kind of racing sport, to be frank with you on it. But happy to be here. Happy to have you with me as we just commentate on another fantastic run to the end of another one of these truck races. So hopefully we get to see more exciting races with these trucks. As again, short season, gonna be a lot of hard chargers for the next one, sure.
Well spoken, my friend. Always a pleasure having you up here in the booth for the Elite Racing League events. On behalf of EliteRacingLeague.com, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in for the Tilson 200 Darlington round. And as always, thanking Response Energy, Old Testament, C2, Blue Egg Marketing, and Tilson. I'm James East, accompanied by Gerald Campbell, and we'll see you same time next week. And thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. Have a great night, everyone.